It's right here.
And then what was the mac?
Don't forget to remove the spoon.
The carbonara mac of the week.
Here, I'll grab it for you.
Excellent. And then click see rewards.
Enjoy.
And it looks like you do not quite have enough points yet.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
$10.
Each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker. And there was no sexual assault. County Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.
So, hi guys, welcome back to What's the Obsession, covering the University of Idaho tragedy. And to this day, and it's December 26th, the day after Christmas, and I hope you guys all had a wonderful holiday. As far as we know, there's absolutely no suspects or credible leads even in this case, which is absolutely amazing. So I know that probably all of you here are very interested as well in finding justice for the 4 victims and their families. And there's been a lot of controversy around, well, there's always a lot of controversy around this topic, whether, internet sleuths, as they should say, should be talking about this case and speculating and trying to uncover things and thinking of their own. While I say, first of all, I want to say I do very much respect the police, and, I thank God for them. I have a lot of respect for them in general and most of them individually. But if you are one of those nasty little true crime sleuths, you know that historically there are situations and more situations in cases than we would like to know that there is, where the ball was dropped in investigations. And the way that the crime, the horrific crime in this case, was solved was through untraditional means. So we're going to talk about it. So, hey, Callie, how are you doing? It's so nice to see you, sweetheart. It's great to see you. Hey, DC Primetime, how are you doing? Hi, Donna, welcome. How are you doing? Hey, American Princess, how are you doing? Yes. That's right. Thank you. I'm talking about that today. And the coroner. I have a lot to say about the coroner. Let me try to center myself in this chair here. I left some of my stuff I was at my mom's house for Christmas, and I left some stuff there, so I had to rig up a situation. Hi, Willie. How are you doing? Let's see. No, let's talk about that too. Let me start that, baby. Hey, Jeannie. How are you doing? It's nice to see you. Thank you for being here and for all that you do. And hey, let's see, Kirsten's, I'm not sure how to say that, but welcome. I'm so sorry. I can't say your name. It's my fault. I can't read things sometimes. Hi, the Rockaways. How are you doing? Yes. The Rockaway says, this case is already overdue to be solved in my book. Absolutely. Molson Man, I don't think we can blame NK for this one, but Molson Man, I'm so glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, that probably didn't make any sense to you right now. It's all good, trust me. And welcome people who are new to the channel, and OGs, we love you too, and everyone else. Hey, Karen G, I'm glad you're here. How are you doing? Yeah. Hey, Glenn Jammin, how's it going? Thanks, Glenn Jammin. I appreciate that. He said awesome intro. I just did another intro for you, and it actually I don't want to talk about my technical problems. I have too many of them. It must be, it's me. I'm sure it is. I started this channel because I wanted to learn video editing, and because I've always been interested in issues of justice, was especially interested in issues of justice with the Watts case, which is how this channel started out, hence the name, and also the video editing aspect. So, all right. And if I miss anyone else, please say hi and we'll say hi back. I don't want to scroll up too much. I know I'm already late, so I don't want to take up any more of your time. Okay, so, and then Teresa Smith, hey there, how are you doing? Oh, 3 of a kind, nice to see you. Hey, it's great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Merry Christmas, Kelly. Oh, when am I doing another Watts Live? Well, this week, just another little kind of channel business thing. There's going to be a live stream every night from Tuesday to Friday. Ooh, 4 live streams this week. I've never done that before. So tonight, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night. So there's going to be a Watts live stream either Thursday or Friday night, 3 of a kind. I'm not sure which yet, but I'll definitely let you guys know. Okay. So I want to take a look back at some of the things that were said about this crime, this tragedy, this horrific, egregious tragedy early on. Now, it's been what? This happened on November 13th, and today is December 26th. So it's been about a month and a half, about a month and 2 weeks since this happened. But when we look back over time at all of the things that the relevant and irrelevant people have had to say, you know, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was just a few weeks ago. It seems like so much time has passed because maybe things are so different now, or maybe what was said really never applied. In this case, when I go back and I look at some of the older footage, older being a relative term, that's what I tend to think. Hey, Phantasmic Ether. Hey, Phil, how are you doing? 43 days. Oh, yeah, 43 days. Thank you very much for doing that super simple math. Someone the other day in the live stream kept saying 52 days, and I didn't correct them, but that had me thrown because I had that in my head, but I knew it wasn't. Thank you very much. Yeah, so let's take a look at that. So I am just going to, while I'm getting up some of the other old footage, I'm going to play for you. Sorry, I got to mute that. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to play a little bit of a video I had uploaded a couple days ago that just featured Kelvy Gonsalves's. Thank you for everyone that corrected me. That was a lot of you. Her parents, primarily, and her brother, talking about their feelings or their reflections on Kelly Gonsalves's ex-boyfriend, Jack D. We've been calling him on this channel. So if you've already seen it, just hang in there, and we're going to be looking at some totally different stuff as well. Let's see here. That's the one. Okay. And in chat, if you could just give me some feedback and let me know if you have an echo when I start playing this, because I am charging up my earbuds so I don't have them in, and sometimes that creates an echo. I'll make sure I fix it real quick, okay? Welcome to everybody that just came in. Nice to see you. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, if you don't, I hope you've had a great season. And thank you guys for being here.
If you've been following the Idaho 4 case, you know that Katie Gonsalves's family, her parents, and her dad, Steve, especially, have been outspoken in media outlets talking about their experience of dealing with the aftermath of this crime and their communication with investigators. They've talked about really all aspects of this crime that I can think of, really, that they know about. And that includes how they feel about people that would be likely suspects or people that have been named suspects. And in that group, we can include Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, Jack D. It's notable to point out that recently, Katie's father, Steve, was talking about the guy that we heard Kaylee and Maddie talking about in that recently released security camera footage where they're walking down the street from the corner club to the grub truck, and Kaylee says, Maddie, what did you tell Adam? And Maddie says, I told Adam everything. When the reporter brings up this Adam guy to Steve, he very quickly dismisses Adam as being a possible suspect, as does Steve's lawyer. Take a listen.
we did the obvious due diligence when we looked into that, and it was pretty clear that this individual was not a part of the investigation as far as a suspect.
Now, in my opinion, it is notable that Kaylee's father spoke out saying that this guy, Adam, was clearly not a suspect so quickly, yet he has still yet to speak out, saying that her former boyfriend, Jack D, is not a suspect. Now, I'm not saying that that necessarily makes Jack D a suspect. I'm just saying that it's notable. On the other hand, we certainly can observe that Kaylee's mother and sister have spoken out vocally and often, pronouncing Jack as an innocent person in this entire situation and stating that he absolutely, positively could not be guilty. We're going to listen to several news clips that have quotes from Kaylee's mother and sister talking about Kaylee's former boyfriend, Jack D. Take a listen. The first time we hear Kaylee's mother and sister reference Jack D, they don't name him specifically, but it's their first sit-down interview that I'm aware of, at least, and they are talking about the calls that Katie made after she got home from being out at the corner club and the grub truck to a person that they had not named yet. Here's what they have to say.
So she was on my mom's cell plan. So on Sunday, I was able to pull those cell records.
And you could see that she was calling somebody out. Does it seem like they may have been involved, or does it seem like
no, not at all. Kaylee had no shame in kind of power calling, so it fits Kaylee.
And we know who she was calling, and this person is, and this person was asleep. Unfortunately, was not getting the calls, and it was, I don't know, a few calls for half an hour. She called him a couple times, but no. It was not, we do not believe she was calling him for help. We believe that she was just calling him to come over. If Kaylee was in imminent danger, her or Maddie, they would have called 911. They would not have been calling this person. Yeah.
And that was around 2.
Yes. So at that time we
started
believe
around 2:30.
Yeah. We believe that the girls were just fine.
So from those phone records, it looks like the girls may have been alive around 2:30.
2:30 is what, the last call?
No. The last call is shortly before 3 a.m.
Short. Yeah, that's right. 2:50 something.
2:52.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you heard there, and this interview was very early on, Kelly's mother and sister both maintained that Jack had absolutely nothing to do with this tragedy, although he wasn't named. It's clear that they were talking about Jack. The next clip we're going to listen to is a telephone interview with Kelly's parents. And, well, here's what they have to say.
We keep hearing this name, Jack, and phone calls going back and forth. Can you tell us anything about that?
We love Jack. Absolutely love Jack. We stand behind Jack 1,000%. Jack was Kaylee's boyfriend for many years. They just recently broke up. There was no animosity at all. It was a breakup on Kaylee's point. It was not, they still talked every single day. Kaylee just thought that she needed a little break. They were on the mend of getting back together. Kaylee talked to Jack the whole time she was here for that week and a half.
One of her last messages, she reached out to Jack and said, Jack, get back to me. And he didn't. She goes, we share a dog together, which they did. She's like, you need to reach out to me. So
please come over. She was wanting Jack to come over. Jack is not, they're wasting their time with Jack. And Jack is just as distraught as we are. Jack is our family. Jack is 100%, 2,000% our family. And Jack is with us. And we stand behind him 100%. We're supporting him. And we know in our hearts and our minds and our souls, in the depths of our souls, Jack is hurting. And Kaylee and Jack would have eventually been married. They would have eventually been married, and they would have eventually had children together. So to say ex-boyfriend, it was Kaylee just being a brat, being like, I just need a break. But Jack was in her heart, and they were close to getting back together. And that was just Kaylee being Kaylee. So
as you heard there in that interview, Kelly's mother was strongly defending Jack. She said that they stand behind him 1,000%. And, she was very animated and emphatic in her defense of Jack. An interesting point one of the channel subscribers and panel participants brought up last night, and that would be Sis Vicious, was when Kaylee's mom says in this interview they're wasting their time with Jack, it made her wonder who is the mother referring to when she says they. Did they, meaning the parents, know something more than we did? Was Jack being scrutinized, being looked at intensely for a period of time that we did not know about? We really, of course, couldn't be sure about that, but I thought it was a very interesting point. In this next clip, we have an interview with Kelly's father, sister Olivia again, and Kelly's brother for the first time. So I think it's really interesting to hear what Kelly's brother has to say and to watch his mannerisms and his nonverbal indicators. So let's take a listen and look at what's going on in this interview, specifically when the family is asked about their support for Jack.
Your family has been very outspoken in support of Jack. He's Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. And on the Moscow police website, he is not listed, notably, as someone who has been cleared in the investigation. To your knowledge, is that significant?
No, I don't personally think so, because I think that there's the entire rest of the world that's also not on that list of people who have been cleared.
Right.
Including Maddie's boyfriend, including any associates of Xana or Ethan that might not be involved. I don't find that significant at all.
And there were a number of phone calls to him that night, and you say that would have been typical behavior for Kaylee, that she often would call friends, folks, for a whole bunch of things.
At any time, yeah. Multiple times until I would pick up at 3 a.m. and be like, Kaylee, what?
Yeah.
And some of the last footage of her at that food court, she's on her phone 24/7 filming the whole thing. So she lived on that phone. So
yeah.
In case you didn't catch it, I want you to notice how each of these family members responds when the interviewer asks the initial question about Jack not being cleared officially on the Moscow Police Department website. I'm going to zoom in so you can take a really careful look at this. Look at dad, look at brother, look at sister. It's very interesting.
Moscow police website, he is not listed, notably, as someone who has been cleared in the investigation. To your knowledge, is that significant?
No, I don't personally think so, because I think that there's the entire rest of the world that's also not on that list of people who have been cleared.
Right.
Including Maddie's boyfriend, including any associates of Xana or Ethan that might not be involved. I don't find that significant at all.
And there were a number of phone calls to him that night, and you say that would have been typical behavior for Kaylee, that she often would call friends, folks, for a whole bunch of things.
Just in case you didn't catch all that, one more time.
Who has been cleared in the investigation. To your knowledge, is that significant?
No, I don't personally think so, because.
So I'm sure that you saw the three distinctly different reactions there. Kaylee's sister, jumps right on that question. No, I personally don't think so. And then you watch Kaylee's brother, you see him raise his eyebrows and give an exaggerated head nod, yes, as to, without using words, state an emphatic yes. That is significant. And watching dad is also very interesting. He purses his lips. He looks very pensive. And I personally think he really struggles with that question. I'm sure he does not want to believe that Jack had anything to do with it. And once again, guys, I'm not saying that he did. I think he understands that his family members are a little split on how they feel about the topic. And I think he's been pensive, and he's thinking through this question with intensity. He has been from the beginning, and he still is, in my opinion.
One of the points of speculation is that Kaylee had an ex-boyfriend. Phone logs show she made 7 calls to the ex that night. The police say it's a non-issue. What's your take?
Yeah, I completely agree. I could not be any happier to see that they have cleared him. From the beginning, I knew that it wasn't him, and I'm happy that they're focusing their attention somewhere else now.
So here, once again, picking up on what subscriber Sis Vicious pointed out last night, Kaylee's sister also uses terminology like, I'm glad that they're focusing on someone else now, implying that Jack perhaps was being looked at closely for a period of time at least.
Can you elaborate at all? I don't know. You don't have to give a name, but I mean, is it someone that she knew, or?
I have something to say about that. I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast. That may not, maybe he shouldn't have been. And yeah,
She had the strong alibi.
just really fast.
If you can dismiss,
an hour later, and we're like, what? And I don't know. I don't know anything about those individuals. I just know they were people that, definitely should have been looked at. And yeah.
I don't know what would prevent you from sharing somebody's alibi.
Yeah, I think that's what we're struggling with. So it's like, we know what we know. We've, fought for Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, and, we still stand that way. So I did just kind of want to clear that up while we're talking through this ambiguity that, that's not what we're honing in on here.
We don't want to make more victims out of innocent people.
Exactly.
We definitely don't want to do that.
So please leave a comment letting us know what you think. We all want to know what you think. And remember, in making these videos, the goal is always working towards justice for the victims in this tragedy and for their families. Please consider hitting like and subscribe and hitting that bell to get future notifications from this channel. Thanks for watching.
All right. So, let me just take that down.
Provide as far as what you've been witnessing here from the University of South.
Stop screen. Awesome. Okay. Something's still playing here. Okay, there we go. Okay. Very good. All right. So, welcome everybody who's come into chat. It's nice to see all of you guys. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, a great holiday season of December all around. So we're talking about, of course, the University of Idaho case and things that have been said and asserted and claimed by people who are relevant in investigating the case throughout the course of the case, from the day that the world found out about this tragedy until, well, as recently as today. So let's go back and just play a little clip. This is like a 2-minute and 30-second clip from, it's the police press conference. It's the second press conference going back to, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. I'll find a date for you, but it's the second press conference. Let's see here. Here we go. Sorry about that. Let me just get in here. Whoops, I'm shaking this thing. Present. Screen. I love StreamYard. StreamYard is awesome.
On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Morgan were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning. On the morning of November 13th, at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch Center reporting an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence and was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates. Moscow Police Department officers responded and located 4 victims, 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. The Latah County coroners conducted autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault. Investigators have determined 2 areas of interest within the city and have provided maps which are on our Facebook page and on our website. And these are areas that they have canvassed for additional surveillance video and tips, and have contacted several residents in the areas.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories
You're
and breaking news by
welcome. Okay, so you know what else I wanted to do? I want to put the link in chat because there are so many of you, some I talked to today, who said you might be interested in coming up and talking about some theories you have, and they are interesting ones. Let me tell you that, some people, and I think really good ones too. Also just people commenting on videos, often, always have a lot of great stuff to say. So if anybody does want to come up onto panel and talk and tell everybody what you're thinking, as opposed to just typing, please just go ahead and do that, okay? DC Primetime, we missed you last time. Welcome everybody who's just come in chat. I'm trying to get down to the current time in chat. I got a little bit behind there. Hi, John McSmith. How's it going? I'm just saying hi as I see people. Hey, oldies but goodies. How are you doing? Hi, Georgina. Welcome. How are you doing? Okay. Let's see. Just read a couple chats here. Hey, oh, let's see. Ontario Ed Orion. Where'd your comment go? I want to pin that one. So Ontario Ed Orion says, none of them could get to their phones to call 911, which makes me wonder about 4 people attacking at the same time with the same kind of knife. 4 people, 4 victims? You mean like 4 different perpetrators? Yeah, I mean, you know, considering they couldn't get to their phones, right? So, I mean, what would we think about this? Well, you know, the different stories that we have heard that, you know, seem plausible, or the different theories, I guess they would be, because there really aren't any official stories, is that, first of all, they were all attacked in their sleep. Second of all, you know, maybe the perpetrator went upstairs and attacked Kaylee and Maddie, and Ethan heard it and he woke up. And therefore, you know, hearing her boyfriend get out of bed, maybe he made a lot of noise because he was loud, because he was like, oh my God, what's going on? I got to get out there. Then she woke up, because we do know that the Xana, Ethan's girlfriend, of course, had defensive wounds. Dilly Gonsalves's father also claims that Kaylee had defensive wounds. You know, there's been a lot of information that's come out in different ways that I don't want to use the word conflicting, that word. Some of you have not liked that word when I say it or others say it. And I hear you and I get it. And I agree to some extent, some of you. A lot of different information, none of it being congruent enough to paint a clear picture that allows us to say with any kind of, you know, definitive confidence, this is it, this is what happened, we know what happened, and we are confident that authorities are able to have enough probable cause to get a warrant to arrest a suspect, to charge them, and to convict them of this horrible crime, so we can find justice for the victims and their families. So that's what we're doing here, is talking about it, because that is the end goal. So I'm going to bring DC Primetime up. She's waiting backstage. And again, here is a link. If anybody does want to come up on the panel and speak your mind, you're more than welcome to do that. You have to turn your camera on. If you don't want to, it's totally fine. And you're welcome here. Okay. Welcome everybody who's in chat. And also welcome DC Primetime. How are you doing, darling?
Hey, Kelly. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm so sorry I missed your last show, but it's been crazy with the weather. I hope everybody is staying warm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, I know you're down in Texas. Yeah. And it's even crazy down here too. Oh, of course you're welcome, Georgina. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you guys got, yeah. And it's also the holiday time. I mean, my goodness, you know, I'm glad that people are out spending time with their friends and family. And I hope everyone is safe, echoing what DC said, and that you did get to spend that time. Yeah.
It's been a very trying time, but my heart goes out to those people that have lost power, that are under snow cover. You know, Texas, whatever, like we can lose heat or power or gas for a couple of days and be okay. And it's a little frustrating, but my heart goes out to those people that have lost power And there's several people here with the Arctic front that have lost their lives. So I just wanted
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah.
to just say I'm so sorry for those people.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
anyway, I mean, thank you for having me up, Kelly.
What are you thinking about the case?
So I do have some thoughts about the case, and everybody in chat has been like popping off with these theories, and I think that they're wonderful. It's like law enforcement is not giving us very much to work with. So we can only go with the information that we know in order to develop theories.
That's right.
They've ruled out Jack, apparently, or so they say. Hi.
When was that said, by the way? I was going to put this question out there because I, even in my own head, have conflicting information. I usually get pretty clear on things before I talk about them. Want to talk about tonight, but where and when did they clear Jack?
So I feel like they cleared Jack right away with regards to the several calls that were made to him. I believe his alibi is that he was sleeping, but I do think that he was local to the area. So like in my mind, I haven't really cleared him out. I don't know that much about him in order to kind of match him with the information that I've garnered and kind of developed into my own theory as to what's happened here.
And Ara's up here too. I just want to welcome Ara really quick.
Hi, Ara, honey. How are you, honey?
How are you doing? It's good to see you guys.
It's so good to see you. Oh my gosh. Are you okay? Are you where are you at?
I'm on holiday with my family, but I've been trying to go live for a little bit and I haven't been able to, but Kelly's live with Idaho, so let's go. Let's talk.
Let's go. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you.
I put a link in the private chat for when Jack was cleared.
Yes,
it's a Fox News article.
You're the best. Everybody also, by the way, Ara has a channel. If one of the moderators could put it in chat, please, the link as much as you want. Subscribe, go check her out. Thank you. I'm going to
DC, I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Miss Kelly. DC, I hope you're doing well. I miss you.
Doing well. I miss you too. I'm sorry. It's been crazy here with moving and the holidays and stuff. It's been a trying time, but you know, we have to keep that in perspective. There's people up north that have had it much worse. So
yes,
my heart goes out to you guys.
So I didn't mean to cut you off of what you were saying when you said about, oh wait, actually, you know what? Let me just play this video that Ara provided, bless your soul, about when, oh yeah, this is, wait.
And also there's another link where it's that body cam footage that we see like from 10 weeks before the murders happened. It's another Fox article. So I'm going to link both of them there for you.
That would be amazing. Hold on. I don't know if this link is going to the right place. Well, oh wait, hold on. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, awesome. Okay, let me just share this with everybody. So DC Primetime was just saying, since they cleared Jack, and Ara very smartly provided a link to where that can be found. So let's check it out. Let's see. Stop screen, share screen. I love StreamYard. Okay.
You guys are so beautiful. I just want to say you both look amazing.
Thank you, darling. You're so sweet. Okay. Can you see this? Let me make sure I pulled it in. Okay, very good. Yep. Oh, let me take down. I want everybody able to see it. Just let me take down the chat. Oh, where'd Ara go? Oh, she's there still. Let's see. Okay. And no, then go away. Yeah. Okay. And then let me just make it. No, I want everyone on though. Okay, there we go. I don't know which one's going to be best. Whatever. I'll read it. Idaho murders. Police have cleared phone calls victims made on the night of the stabbings. And then the subheadline says 2 victims made multiple phone calls to male subject just before they were stabbed to death. Also very important, let's check out the date of this article. So the date on this article is November 20th, 2022. So that's just about a week after the murders. Now, should I read it or play this, darling?
Whatever you want, Kelly. Your show, we're here for you.
Yeah, if we can play it, I'll play it. Because sometimes the video doesn't go with the article on Fox. Have you noticed that? Sometimes it does. So
they're getting better about it, though. They are getting better about it.
Yeah. Hope so.
And real quick, just to the title of the article, It says they've cleared the phone calls. It
Yeah, I
doesn't.
know. So that's why I'm interested to see what let's see what Miss
Yeah.
Sang has to say
Let's see
here.
what they
Hey,
have.
Miss Sang Fox.
We begin with a Fox News alert. The parents of one of the 4 murdered University of Idaho students are speaking out to Fox News and standing behind her ex-boyfriend, who she called minutes before she was murdered. The 4 were stabbed to death while sleeping in their beds. And the Moscow police chief now says when officers arrived at the home, there were no signs of forced entry. Police also revealing the 911 call that was made about 9 hours after the killing came from one of the roommates' cell phones. Police previously cleared the roommates of any wrongdoing. Kaylee Gonsalves's ex-boyfriend Jack was identified as the person she called 10 times the night she was killed. Here are her parents on Lawrence Jones' cross country from just last night.
We love Jack, absolutely love Jack. We stand behind Jack 1,000%. Jack was Kaylee's boyfriend for many years. They just recently broke up. There was no animosity at all. It was a breakup on Kaylee's point. It was not, they still talk every single day. Kaylee just thought that she needed a little break. They're wasting their time with Jack. And
You got to pause that.
Jack is just as distraught as we are. Jack is our family.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to, well, it's because think about it. There's no, and I'm not, this is not me saying that this person is guilty or not, but think about it. There's no animosity over a breakup. When we covered this with Chris Watts, and there is no animosity of breakup, and you're still calling each other all the time and talking, of course there's going to be animosity in a breakup.
Right.
And I do not like how they're portraying this relationship to be, or the breakup to be. That's just someone making it seem like, oh, it was no big deal, it's fine. Like, just something to think about.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. And I just also note that the mother's characterization of Jack is always a little way over the top. You know, rather than saying we stand behind him 100%, which is sufficient.
Yes.
1,000%. And you know, and that's just an example of like how I feel the verbiage always is.
Yes.
But what we're watching now, this doesn't actually say that the police cleared Jack, right? It does.
No, it doesn't. That's the point of. That's why I sent it to you.
Oh, got it. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So the family cleared Jack.
The family cleared Jack. Yeah. The
Right,
family
and
cleared Jack. Ain't
the
no
family
thing.
is protecting Jack.
Peterson,
Now let's.
cleared Scott Peterson too.
Kelly, let me ask you something. Do you know the relationship between Kaylee's sister and Jack? Are they friends?
I don't know. I don't know anything. I honestly hadn't even looked into it. I didn't think to.
Okay.
Do you know?
I just wanted to pause.
Point,
Sorry, go ahead.
Kelly,
Do you know anything about
with
it?
Scott Peterson, I mean, yes, the Rocha family was 100% behind Scott Peterson before he became a suspect, before Amber Fried came out. So things can change. This is a very fluid, transitional time in the investigation.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the investigators have a lot more information that they're giving out. They're keeping this very close to the vest. So, you know, my prayers are with them and for their discernment, and so that they can help prosecute the person that committed these 4 horrific murders.
Yeah. I mean, my prayers are with them too. But yeah, here, let me read absolutely. I feel terrible for this family. Shelsby, and welcome, Shelsby. I'm glad you're here. It says Maddie told Adam everything, and Adam told Jack D everything. Kelly didn't tell Jack everything and said they were only on a break. Jack heard everything about Texas and Kaylee taking Murphy and snapped. I mean,
I'll be right back, Kelly. Give me a second. Sorry.
Okay, great. Yeah. Given everything we know, Shelsby, I think that that's totally plausible. You know, there isn't anything that we know based on the facts that we have been handed or whatever they've been done to us that would go against what you're saying, right?
No.
Yeah. So
that's still front and center. I mean, we have to consider that as a possibility. And we have to kind of line that up. But what do we know about Jack? Like, what's he like? You know? I don't know,
let's
Kelly.
see. What do we know about Jack? Let's see. So here's just a couple of things I don't know too much about Jack. I know that Kaylee and Jack these are all things that I found when I was doing research that I can verify. I have the sources somewhere. I'm sure that most of you know that I don't put out BS, so you probably believe me. But Kaylee and Jack were dating for 5 years. They went to the prom together. They, towards the end of their relationship, or a lot of sources, meaning people who are close to them, claimed anywhere from the last year to the last half of their relationship. They were one of those kind of on again, off again couples, mostly always on, but playing around with that off thing. It sounded like on Kaylee's part, and I am definitely not blaming her in any way for this. That's how young people act sometimes. She was a very young girl. She was only 21 at the time of this tragedy, Wait, let me just find this here. Did I already wait, hold it. Just a sec. I just got to find a video. Sorry.
And Kaylee was about to move to my neck of the woods here in Austin.
She was, yeah.
She was about to start a new life and bring the dog. So I know that Jessica from the other channel, RR channel, she had come under some criticism for pointing out the red flags about Jack in the mainstream media. Jessica Daly Davies, Reporter Room.
Okay.
I didn't see her video, but she does often point out red flags. And I mean, this isn't defamation. These are just things to consider. So it's not quite the same thing as the TikToker that's like, oh,
it's
this
not the same
professor.
thing at all. It's not the same thing at all. Yeah.
No,
I mean, that was crazy. That was like psychopathic.
Yeah, we can point out red flags and just say, hey, this is something to consider with the information that we have, which is not much at this point. So we kind of have to go on what we know. But what do we know about Jack? Obviously, Kaylee was in her, and I hate to say this, but to quote her mother, she was being a brat and broke up with Jack. Like, what does that mean? I think we need to explore that further, personally.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be worth exploring further. I agree with that. Now, I'm going to actually put up a poll here, and I want to know, I've read so many comments on my videos about what you just said about when Kaylee's mother said, oh, she was just being a brat, like, oh, I need a break, I want to put up a poll here. I'm going to do that in a second. I'm a really bad multitasker. Sorry. I'm going to put up a poll. I just want for those, well, actually, and I'll play it too, but what is playing? Okay. I want to know what you guys think about that. So the poll is just going to ask, I'm sure you could probably rate yourself too. Good. Yeah. If you think that comment that her mom made was a little bit off. What did you think of that, DC?
Well, I mean, I thought that it was really layered, right? Like Kaylee was just being a brat. What does that mean? I'm sorry. It just seems odd. Like, did she do this often? Was that her personality? What does that reveal about Kaylee?
Well, sometimes people say that as like a loving gesture. Like, man, she's such a brat, It's just
Yeah, maybe, and I'm getting this sense, and I'm speaking out of nothing, but just from that statement alone, that maybe Jack was a put upon person, that Kaylee was a spoiled brat. Like, and I hate to speak ill of the dead. You know that, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say that, but just based on that comment alone, like she was kind of like an entitled person, and maybe Jack was a little more put upon, etc.
Yeah, kind of like Shanann and Chris.
It's amazing how much we go back and refer to them because there's so much you can.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, okay. I do want to play. Have you guys all heard that sound clip where Kaylee's mom says Kaylee's a brat? Put in chat if you have not heard it, because I'll pull it up for you. Let's see. Hi, Patty. Welcome. How are you doing? And hey, Katrina, how are you? Great to see you. Hi, the One Matrix. Let's see. Patty says, let's see. Kaylee's mother and sister seem to have been pressuring her into marrying Jack. You know what, Patty? I had the exact same impression of all the times that they talk about him. And it seems like one of those relationships to me where the mom had all these great big dreams and hopes and ambitions for Kaylee in this relationship, but maybe the person in the relationship, Kaylee, wasn't feeling the same way about it. I mean, I think we've all known those people, right? I definitely have. Oh, you guys haven't heard it? Okay. All right. Let me pull that. I'm going to pull that up. First, I just want to play, what do we know about Jack? This was at the beginning of the video that I played in the beginning. I just slowed down this couple of moments with Steve Gonsalves, Kaylee, and then also Kaylee's mother and Jack on stage here. And I mean, the first time I watched this, I was like, whoa, what the heck? And I couldn't wait to download it so I could, and like put it in my video editor so I could slow down, back it up. And I don't know if I'm reading too much into that. If you guys are new to this channel and don't know me very well, I'm a behavioral therapist using different methods of behavioral analysis, scientific methods. So all of these verbal and nonverbal indicators that are going on, I'm always paying attention to and talking about on this channel. So, but here, let me just play this video and
Kelly,
go ahead.
because you're like that, I feel like you're probably one of the most unbiased people that I can have a conversation with, because you had a comment earlier. I want to address it because they said, I think the opposite, in my opinion, she was showing empathy for JD's broken heart. You can show empathy for someone's broken heart. However, your daughter is just been murdered. So I feel, in my opinion, your empathy, your whole purpose would be just to feel for your daughter and not worry about this guy unless he's close. That close to the family. I don't know how long they dated, but
yeah,
5 years, apparently.
my opinion.
Right?
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah. Well, let's watch this little video clip here. And there's two things to really notice. The first thing I noticed, because I was just watching Jack, because I had not yet seen video of Jack. So I was like, oh my God, video, I was really watched him. But then the next time I looked at Mr. Gonsalves and I was like, oh my God, this is just so rich. There is so much to unpack here. So let's just take a look at this. I'm going to make this, yeah, there we go. See, take everything, just so you guys can really see. I'll just take everything else off. There we go.
Following the Idaho 4 case, you know that Katie Gonsalves' family, her parents, and her dad, Steve, especially, have been outspoken in media outlets talking about their experience of dealing with the aftermath of this crime and their communication with investigators. They've talked about really all aspects of this crime that I can think of, really, that they know about. And that includes how they feel about people that would be likely suspects or people that have been named suspects. And in that group, we can include Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, Jack D. It's notable to point out that recently, Katie's father, Steve, was talking about the guy that we heard Kaylee and Maddie talking about in that recently released security camera footage where they're walking down outspoken in media outlets talking about their...
Wait, why is that? That's so weird. Why is that happening like that? Let's see what happens.
Experience of dealing with the aftermath of this crime and their communication with investigators. They've talked about really all aspects of this crime that I can think of, really, that they know about. And that includes how they feel about people that would be likely suspects or people that have been named suspects. And in that group, we can include Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, Jack D. It's notable to point out that recently, Katie's father, Steve, was talking about the guy that we heard Kaylee and Maddie talking about in that recently released security camera footage where they're walking down the street from the corner club to the grub truck. And Kaylee says, Maddie, what did you tell Adam?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry about that.
What was your question, Miss Kelly?
So what do you think about that little clip that I just played, that look between Mr. Gonsalves and Jackster? Or the whole thing?
DC.
What do you think, DC?
I mean, I think Dad has a little bit more discernment. He's not as emotional as Mom at this point. That's what I think at this point.
Okay. So I just want to give for some people that haven't watched the whole memorial service or whatever this was, they were talking, this was at the University of Idaho. I don't mean to be disrespectful in saying that. They were just several different events, and I don't know accurately what they were each called, to be honest. So I've heard different things from many of them. During the entire time, Mr. Gonsalves was up there talking. Well, then the mother spoke. And then the daughter spoke. At some point, Mr. Gonsalves looks over to Jack and says, do you want to go up? You can just read the lips so clearly. And we can't see Jack in that frame, but he says no. And then Mr. Gonsalves is just like, okay, we should watch that too. And then they kind of move on. But the whole time they're up there and the dad is speaking most of the time. The sister speaks for a good chunk of time too. Kaylee's mother is as we're looking at the screen, to the right of Mr. Gonsalves. Jack is way over to the left, smartly, I guess, staying off frame. That's what I felt like he was trying to do. And the mother is looking to Jack, going over to Jack, reaching towards Jack, shooting him looks, and doesn't once turn to look at the children, her four surviving children who are behind her. I just found that to be strange. So that's the context that's building up in this footage to the point where we see now, which is the end of the Gonsalveses being on that stage when they finally walk off. So I think for me, that really helped to inform my feeling of this is really strange, No one? Anyone? Okay. So let me see if I get a couple comments in chat. I'm going to also put the link to the panel. If anyone wants to come up and speak your mind instead of type it, you're welcome to. You can put your screen on, can keep it off. If you put your screen on, we just want to see anything nasty. And, whatever you want to do, we just want you to feel comfortable and hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
I think it's notable that Jack declined to speak.
I think it is too.
That's all I can say at this point without,
Yeah.
anything further. I don't know that much about Jack.
Yeah. Jack is a little bit of an interesting character. I made a video about the Jacks. I made a video about that. It's something I often say. At some point, I don't think I said too much about this Jack. It's just mostly pictures, but I think it's only 2 minutes where I talk about this Jack. I'll just pull it on for the 2 minutes where I get that video clip where Kaylee's mom called Kaylee a brat, which is the poll question, because just so many people have pointed that out to me and have been really uncomfortable with it. I kind of go both ways on it. I'm not sure what to think about it. I like nonverbals more than verbals. So, it was a voice.
First, I want to establish something.
So that's how I.
First, I want to establish.
Okay. I guess I have a stronger opinion than that, but I have it up as a poll. I don't want to say anything too strong. I want to know what you guys think first, and then I'll tell you. Okay.
Yeah, I think it tells us a lot, Kelly. And we just gotta listen and we gotta infer.
Very good advice.
Make the content of this video as clear as possible. There are two Jack in this case of the University of Idaho murder. I'm not going to use their last names. If you wanted to know their last names, you can easily find them with a quick Google search. So there is Jack D, who is Kaylee's longtime boyfriend. So that's Jack number 1, Jack D, longtime boyfriend of Kaylee. Meet Jack number 2. There was John Jack. You also need to know, and I'm going to go into a lot more detail about Jake and his connection to Jack number 2 in my next video, which is coming out later today. Maddie's boyfriend is named Jake. So you've got Jack number 1, Jack number 2, and Jake. Jack, the ex-boyfriend of Kaylee, John Jack, the hoodie guy at the grub truck, and then Jake, Maddie's boyfriend. So why are all these J's even important? The two Jacks were at some point persons of interest, and depending on the source you go to, they might still be persons of interest, or one might still be person of interest. During the interviews, the Gonsalves family talked about Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, a number of times and made it very clear that that is who they were talking about. Kaylee's boyfriend, particularly Kaylee's mom, talked a lot about Jack. They said that they stood behind him 100% and a lot of other things. Listen to the videos that are upcoming. Let us know what you think. Think for yourself. And then Kaylee's sister also references the phone calls to Jack. But when she's talking about the phone calls to Jack, it's not 100% clear if she's talking about Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, or maybe another Jack.
Jack 6 times
2:26 a.m. to 2:44 a.m.
She did not make it clear that she's talking about Jack D, Jack number one, Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. What Kaylee's
Although I
family
believe
does
she
make
is.
clear is how they feel about Jack number one's possible standing as a suspect in this horrific crime. Go ahead and take a listen to the video excerpts from several interviews with the family members and leave a comment letting us know what you think.
We want to do everything that we can do in our power to get justice for your daughter. We keep hearing this name Jack and phone calls going back and forth. Can you tell us anything about that?
We love Jack. Absolutely love Jack. We stand behind Jack 1,000%. Jack was Kaylee's boyfriend for many years. They just recently broke up. There was no animosity at all. It was a breakup on Kaylee's point. It was not, they still talked every single day. Kaylee just thought that she needed a little break. They were on the mend of getting back together. Kaylee talked to Jack the whole time she was here for that week and a half.
One of her last messages, she reached out to Jack and said, Jack, get back to me. And he didn't. She goes, we share a dog together, which they did. She's like, you need to reach out to me. So
please come over. She was wanting Jack to come over. Jack is
Okay.
Okay, yeah. We
they're
already
wasting
listened to
their
this part,
time
so I
with
just
Jack.
want to play what I have here. What are you gonna say, DC?
I mean, here's the problem. She's reaching out to him saying, we share a dog, please come over.
Right.
There's like a sense of immediacy in her text messages. And I have a problem with that.
Okay,
Like,
tell us why.
Because apparently he's sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously he could be sleeping, or he could just be leaving his phone at home.
Right.
We don't know. We
Right.
have to keep an open mind. And I'm sorry. Like, it's just to the family, like, this may be 100% brand new to you, but we study true crime and we kind of know how these situations play out. So we have to keep an open mind as far as Jack. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, DC. I have a problem, with people that just don't want anyone to be talking about this, of course, because I feel that we're talking about this. I know for myself and most of you for very good reasons. And I think that it's important, it is critical to our justice system, as I talked about many times on this channel, that all people play a part of it. Like that quote that I often put up from Benjamin Franklin, where he says, something to the effect of our justice system only works when people who are as unaffected are as passionate about it as people who are. And I believe that to be true personally. So yeah, we do have to keep our minds open. Absolutely, we do.
And I love that quote 100%. And there's another quote that you made, and I can't tell you who made it, but it's about incomplete justice. And if I could, I would look it up, but I'm on my phone right now, so I can't. But incomplete justice is not justice 100%. So we need to keep 100% open minds. We can't just throw things out at and see what sticks. This isn't like a kitchen sink incident where we can say like this person is guilty. No. Because the investigators of this case have so much more information, and we need to place our trust in them that they're doing their due diligence and they're conducting this investigation with 100% and trying to make sure that the person who is guilty is convictable.
Yes, exactly. And my God, I really hope that is what's happening. Now, I personally feel like, whereas unlike in cases like, in my opinion, and allegedly, the Chris Watts case or the Watts case, the Watts murders, or Kylie Rodney, where I believe there are clear signs of possible or probable corruption on the behalf of law enforcement. And like in my mind, those were the only cases that I really wanted to talk about on this channel. But what I've come to realize is, there still can be issues of justice, even if there is not corruption in the picture. Because I don't believe in this situation that there is corruption. I just think it is. I'm really not sure what it is. I mean, I feel like there is something wrong. I'm really not sure what it is. So here, I want to play this little bit from the, oh, do you have something to say, Ara?
Sorry, I again, family holiday.
Okay.
But I do want to comment on the look. I know I'm behind on the look that dad gave Jack. That's a look like, like I feel like it's a look that every dad gives the boy that comes into the family and dates your boy. Like
Not after
like
5 years.
I don't see the thing is my dad still looks at my fiance that way, and we've been together for 13.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, and these aren't,
protective dad, like you're never
yeah.
gonna be good enough no matter what happens or whatever. So just
And,
another way to
he
look
just
at
had
it.
his hand on his wife. Maybe he did not like that.
It's like a second in time.
Yeah,
It's a second
it
in
is.
time.
It is. Maybe
So
not
sorry,
even.
I'm behind. Sorry guys. I'm gonna
That's
catch
all right.
up.
No, I want to know what you thought. Absolutely.
No,
All right.
and to that point, Ara,
Yeah,
I
it is a very
believe
good
that
point.
I think it's a valid point. Like, these things are relevant to the parents because now they have to deal with the death of their daughter. And the other parents in this case that have to deal with the death of their loved ones. But we have to figure out, like, who was the target or what was the target. And we
If there
have to
was
kind of
Mhm.
get into the mind frame of the killer to understand who that killer is and then try to align that with the people of interest who have not been cleared by law enforcement.
I just feel like that's a mistake though, to assume. Right? I think right now we're assuming it's Kaylee. We're assuming.
No,
What if we don't?
we can't.
Well, what if it's Kaylee and her best friend? What if it's their
Well,
relationship
I
that
have
that someone was coming after? Does that make sense?
I have a couple of things to say about that, Ara. I'm glad you
Mhm.
asked. Kaylee was there that evening just to show Maddie
Show off her
her
new Range Rover.
her Range Rover, and that was the
I like
last
to show off
evening
my new
that she
Range
would have
Rover
been there.
too. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, heck yeah, I'd show off my Range Rover.
Yeah.
But she wasn't. She was about to depart and move to another city. Sans Jack, sans Maddie, whatever. But this was the last weekend that she would be at that residence. So somebody, I think, who perpetrated this incident had knowledge of that. And to what I've heard from the medical examiner, who everyone has come to chastise,
The coroner. Coroner.
or the coroner. Sorry, not a medical examiner, because not
I
a.
worked so
a
hard to
physician.
clarify that in many live streams, the difference between a medical examiner and the coroner. Sorry, I mean to correct you, but I try to make that point clear to for people.
No, I'm glad you did, because the medical examiner is a defense attorney and not a GP or physician of any kind. Juris
He's
doctorate,
also
not.
kind of an idiot, but that's a whole nother thing I'm making a video about right now.
Well, from what we understand, and this is my periphery, just kind of following the case like here and there because I've been so busy, but Kaylee had suffered tremendous injuries as opposed to Maddie, who was in the same room with her. And then if we look at that from like the geography and the space and time, like Xana and Ethan were on the second floor, which was kind of like the first floor. If you went in through the back sliding glass door, you had a choice. And this is what I was saying about choices that the killer made. You had a choice to go upstairs or not. And I believe that the choice was made to go upstairs. So one of the two girls upstairs was definitely somebody that the killer, whoever that may be, not saying it's Jack, it's probably not. But I mean, just saying the girls upstairs were a target of some capacity, because if Ethan or Xana, what were the targets, they could have been dispatched and then exited upon quickly without having gone upstairs or downstairs. So I think that's a distinguishing factor in this investigation.
I agree with that. And then I also think, what if maybe she had the most substantial wounds because maybe she fought the hardest?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she
Yeah.
seemed like the more outgoing one, the one that would protect people. So she would be the most difficult to subdue, in my opinion. I mean, I like to look at it through all angles because the media will give you one narrative, but you got to look at every angle. And there's so many angles with this case. It's honestly exhausting to keep up with.
It is. Yeah, I agree with that. I sometimes, like, if I don't, I'm doing other things, I had a lot of intense things going on with work, just before, the little break for a holiday. And maybe I wouldn't watch anything for a couple of days. And then I would get back to it and there'd be so many details. And then this is what I love. People comment on the videos being, oh, yawn, this is old news. It came out like 36 hours ago. I'm like, yo, I'm not CNN. I'm not promising late breaking news. I'm making videos, but it's hard to keep up with. It's very, very hard to keep up with.
There's a lot of misinterpretation and misinformation in this case, most than I've seen in every other case that we've discussed in the past or that I've seen. And so I think honing in onto the news is the best way to keep up with this, because you have a lot of YouTubers putting out a lot of just their opinion stuff, like misinformation.
I agree. Yes.
Stick to the Fox stuff, because you know what? This is big news for them. They're going to stick to this and they're going to be on top of it more than any other
and
case.
News Nation too. News Nation also.
Yes,
I just want to read this. I've been trying to get to the super chat forever, and I'm so sorry it took me so long. But it's just also pertaining to the footage that we looked at with the interaction between Mr. Gonzalez and Jack. So, Here for the Truth, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming over and being here from T Rev's channel. That's awesome. It was a great live stream the other night. If that's where I interacted with you. Says newbie from T Rev, great channel, guys. Go check it out. He's covering this case really well. He takes callers. It's a really good show. Says maybe she feels the closest to Kaylee when standing with Jack at that point. That thought had crossed my mind too. I certainly Here for the Truth think that is definitely in the realm of possibilities. That she had been with her family probably she at some point, a couple points said that Jack was with the family a lot, but I definitely see your point. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for making that point. And
to that point, like, it's kind of different than we saw with Brian and, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank here.
Whoever.
Oh my God.
Ashley Banfield?
No, Brian Ensign. Yes, I love him. He's been on the scene.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brian and
Gabby. Yeah. Okay.
Gabby.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the parents never really embraced Brian. They're kind of like, what are you doing with this?
Well, for good reason. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like he's kind of a loser, like whatever, like what's he doing with his life? But the Gonzalez family kind of embraced Jack, even though he's kind of, if you look at him, he's kind of a Brian Laundrie. I mean, just from a true crime perspective, like he's kind of like,
yeah,
she was so beautiful and just 100% like outgoing, and I don't know, she was more a Gabby, where this guy Jack was more of a Brian. I'm sorry, I don't want to draw that conclusion.
It's okay.
But that's what we have, right?
That's what we have. And I just want to read this comment. So welcome, the Papa Smurf, the OG. Thank you for being here. And Papa Smurf says, new sub from New York City. Thank you for subscribing. I'm so glad you're here. Says, I'm a death investigator. I believe Kaylee and Maddie were killed first. Zena and Ethan were collateral damage. So thank you so much for offering that perspective. I always love it when people that have some extra insight that like most of us wouldn't have something to say. So I don't know if you would like to expand on that a little bit through chat or come up on panel if you'd like. So my question to you, if you're willing to answer it, is what exactly makes you think that Kaylee and Maddie were first? And then what I'm reading and you saying Zena and Ethan were collateral damage is that you do believe that Kaylee and Maddie were targeted. Is that correct? And if you could let us know, that would be awesome. Thank you very much for chiming in.
Yeah, if you can drop the link again, Kelly, I'd love
definitely.
to hear that. I'd love to hear that perspective, because it's kind of along the lines with what I was thinking, as far as there was a choice, right, that the killer made. There are choices the killer made with a knife versus a gun
That's right.
There's
That's
a choice to be made with going to the third floor and not just going in and killing Xana and Ethan and leaving out the sliding glass door. So agreed 100% that there
Now,
was.
going along with what you're saying about that choice, that's really interesting. So I was doing some research on, just notable. I just thought the weapon in this case is clearly so notable. So I was just doing some basic research on Idaho legislation and how easy is it to get a gun in the state of Idaho. Well, I'll tell you that it's very easy. You don't, and for those of you that are not, or that are watching from not in the United States, hi, by the way, and I'm so psyched you're here. It's really easy to get a gun in the United States right now. The way our government is, and I don't want to weigh in on this at all. I'm just stating the facts. They keep making decisions towards making it easier and easier to get access to firearms rather than more challenging. That's just how it is. And there is a matter of state discretion.
Despite all the mass murders and school shootings.
Yeah, exactly. So there is state discretion in the matter of, what you might have to do, what hurdles per se you might have to jump over in order to get a gun. Idaho doesn't have any of those extra state discretion hurdles. So to your point, there was a choice there, because even if the perpetrator who came in with a knife didn't have a gun, they could have purchased one that very day if they had made the decision they were going to do that. So that's really a very interesting point. I want to read this comment right here. Let's see. Hi, Street Legal Model T. How are you doing? Welcome. Thanks for leaving this comment. Jack D was not cleared. And I do believe that to be true. Like, I feel like I heard while YouTube was kind of on in the background, or while I was sleeping, something from a press conference, but I can't find it. I literally may have been dreaming it, because we all like live, eat, breathe, whatever this case, right? It says, if his alibi had merit, which was supported by substantive proof, he would have been dropped and his name would not be coming up at all. Excellent point. Unfortunately, he's under the scope. I agree. Good point. Yeah. So let me play this part of the interview that we were talking about with the parents. And again, I'm going to drop the link, and anybody, not just the real Papa Smurf OG, but if anybody would like to come up, please feel free to. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Very friendly on this channel. Welcome everybody who's new. Don't be scared. We'll take good care of you. So I'm going to just go ahead and play the interview up until the point where that's said, because I'm not sure where it is in the interview. It's not too far into it though. Okay, I'll get, all right, I can't multitask. All right, here we go.
Everybody, she loved competing.
Can you mute yourself?
She was just a highly driven person who
had many goals in life.
She had an internship that she was offered a full-time position, and we've worked with them, and they've been great with us this whole time. But yeah, she was driven, and she was going to go somewhere in life, and a great member of society, and that's what we wanted.
Yeah, y'all have to be so proud of her. And she was taken away from us far too soon. Can you tell us what the authorities have been telling you? We want to do anything that we can to help you to get justice for your daughter and the rest of the victims. What are they telling you?
They're telling us that there's so much evidence that it's going to take a lot of time to process it all. This wasn't like a pinpoint crime. This person was sloppy. He did whatever. When I say he, obviously you can't say that. That's just me. But he made a mess, and there's a mess there, and they're going to have to go through that point by point, and that's going to take a lot of time. That's why they reached out to other facilities to help them with that lab work.
They do have a mobile unit on site that they said that they're able to really expedite things with this mobile unit. Hopefully, they're reaching out to other DNA processing type companies such as like 23andMe to get involved. They have not confirmed that they have DNA from this person. They just said that they have a ton of evidence. And evidently today with the new task force, the new FBI task force on site, and the FBI, of course, and Idaho State Police, they said that they were able to pull a ton of evidence from the house today.
Yeah.
And they're processing that.
So
it just takes time.
Yeah, you know, we've only heard positive stories about your daughter and the other victims out there. We couldn't find anybody to say anything about them. It's only been that they were givers, they loved everyone on campus. You see the videos on social media of them being so happy. Did y'all have any clue? I mean, there haven't been a murder in you guys' town since 2015. Did y'all have any clue that they may be unsafe on the campus? Was there any indication?
Absolutely not. And if they were, we would have told Kaylee to come home immediately. And same with Maddie. Maddie's family is our family. I know we're very close with them. They are not speaking out. They choose not to speak out. And they have asked us to please go ahead and speak on behalf of Maddie. They were best friends from little girls. She was part of our family. Kaylee was part of their family. And absolutely not. Our son went to that college. No, absolutely not.
My daughter was aware of her environment.
Very aware.
She turned her camera on. She would film when she thought somebody was following her out of a mall parking lot or a grocery store. She was very aware that, you know, she was a pretty girl and that, you know, it could attract some problems. So she was alert. She was a streetwise child.
She herself was a web sleuth, literally through and through. You know, listen to, you know, which is just so ironic and just so surreal in all of it. You know, just very, you know, sad for families when she'd hear about this type of stuff happening. Like, Mom, did you hear about that? Or Mom, did you hear about that?
Keep track of it.
You know, and she was very well with her surroundings. She would think somebody was following her and she would call me and say, Mom, I think there's somebody following me. And I'm like, well, Kaylee, call the police, you know, and then she'd say, oh, never mind. They just turned into 7-Eleven. You know, just, I mean, she was aware, you know, and very aware. And she locked her doors at night and she locked her car. Kaylee was home, had just been home. So we are so thankful that she had just been home for a week and a half. She just bought a brand new vehicle for herself, her first vehicle. She had planned a trip. She was planning on backpacking across Europe for the month of January, starting her new job in February with this internship that she had done, wound up offering her a full-time, very well-paid position that she was very excited to take. And she was with us for the last week and a half. She went home Friday to literally go show off her new vehicle. She was like, Maddie has to see my new ride. Like, she has to see this. And she was talking to Maddie the whole time, going back and forth between the car she was buying, and said, I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to see me pull up and wait till you see what I pull up in.
Wow.
And that was Friday. And we spoke to Kaylee on Saturday, and she sent me pictures, a lot of the pictures that are online. And they were both of our girls. And
when was the last time y'all spoke? When was the last time? What was that conversation like? Was it just like you described?
Kaylee called me on Saturday.
Going up a little bit.
Kaylee called me on Saturday. And I said, well, I don't know if I believe that. And
have you had the opportunity?
Oops. Just one sec. I want to get to that part about Jack.
Only Maddie. And
it was just over at our house.
Anybody's worst night. Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure she would always stay sick. Each time we traveled out of the country.
We keep hearing this name Jack and phone calls going back and
Here we
forth.
go. Here we go.
Can you tell us anything about that?
We love Jack. Absolutely love Jack. We stand behind Jack 1,000%. Jack was Kaylee's boyfriend for many years. They just recently broke up. There was no animosity at all. It was a breakup on Kaylee's point. It was not, they still talked every single day. Kaylee just thought that she needed a little break. They were on the mend of getting back together. Kaylee talked to Jack the whole time she was here for that week and a half.
One of her last messages, she reached out to Jack and said, Jack, get back to me. And he didn't. She goes, we share a dog together, which they did. She's like, you need to reach out to me. So
please come over. She was wanting Jack to come over. Jack is not, they're wasting their time with Jack, and Jack is just as distraught as we are. Jack is our family. Jack is 100%, 2,000% our family, and Jack is with us, and we stand behind him 100%. We're supporting him, and we know in our heart and our minds and our souls, in the depths of our souls, Jack is hurting, and Kaylee and Jack would have eventually been married. They would have eventually been married, and they would have eventually had children together. So to say ex-boyfriend, it was Kaylee just being a brat, you know, being like, I just need a break. But Jack was in her heart, and they were close to getting back together. And
that's all it was. Let's listen to that again. A lot of comments about this, guys. The mom calling Kaylee a brat here. I just, the survey's up. I'll take it down soon. I have another good question for you. I think I'm going to bring Kay Braze up in just a minute, but just so you can hear this just one more time, then we'll move on.
But Jack was in her heart, and they were close to getting back together. And that was just Kaylee being Kaylee. So absolutely, Jack is, no.
We don't think he's a suspect.
At all.
Wow. Ma'am, can you tell me about what the mood is like in the town? You guys have been so brave.
I'm just going to be honest. Dad just said in the background, we don't think Jack is a suspect. I had never heard that before.
But Jack was in her heart, and
oh, I didn't go back far enough. Sorry.
Jack is hurting, and Kaylee and Jack would have eventually been married. They would have eventually been married, and they would have eventually had children together. So to say ex-boyfriend, it was Kaylee just being a brat, being like, I just need a break. But Jack was in her heart, and they were close to getting back together.
So go let us know what you think about that in the poll if you'd like to chime in. Okay, so let's bring Kay Braze up into the panel. So I'm so happy you're up here. Welcome, Kay Braze. How are you doing?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. What's going on? What do you think? Or what question do you have? Or both?
Well, I've been studying. I sit at home and just watch all the videos and stuff. And there's been a thing that hasn't really been brought up, that you said that you're psychology. You said there.
I have I have a background in psychology. Yes, various types of psychology. I'm a behavioral therapist.
Okay, so in a way, it's like, would you really, if Jack really wanted to say kill her, do you think that he would try to compromise himself by getting caught to break in the house, and just to do that to her? Or could he say, hey, let's go to the park? It's kind of weird if you think of it that way. No one's brought this up yet, that you would really jeopardize getting caught to break into a house, to kill 3 other people just to target her.
Mm-hmm.
But if you did it the other way, where you lure her somewhere to do it, that would be more obvious that it would be Jack.
Yeah, well, you do make a good point here, and I would love to hear what the other people on panel have to say about that too, because, and you do have a good point. Now, what I'm just thinking off the top of my head when you raise that question is, well, maybe he was targeting her, and, things went wrong once he got there. He didn't expect Ethan was going to be there. He didn't know there was going to be a 6'2" athletic man in the house. And Ethan surprised him. So things just went awry. Now, if you are feeling emphatic enough, if you have enough passion and emotion, and you are being driven by that, kind of primal emotion, where you have a combat knife in your hand and you're going off because you're like, I'm going to get her, to whatever your ex-girlfriend, you're clearly not being rational. And if something goes wrong against whatever this like narrow scope of what is going to happen in their future that you have in your mind, something messes that up, that person's likely to go like batshit crazy. So that could answer it. But you do bring up a good point. It would be, Jack knowingly risking a whole lot to do that. That's a very good point, because a lot of times when someone commits a crime like this, they don't have as much to lose as Jack had to lose. Not always the case, because there are plenty of people that have committed crimes that are horrible that did have a lot to lose and lost everything, of course. Well, except for the ones who didn't get caught. We want to make sure it doesn't happen in this case. But what do you guys think up on panel?
Yeah, I agree, Gelly. The adrenaline that somebody gets, you can imagine. Obviously, we haven't committed these type of murders, but when you're this close to a person with a bladed weapon, probably a K-bar style knife, your adrenaline is going to be through the roof, and you're going to be lit. So anybody that comes in your path, whether or not it's like just seeing your car parked outside, if they know you, or coming to the rescue because they heard something and they're just coming out to see what's up. Like, I agree. There was a choice to be made to go upstairs or not if you're coming through that sliding glass door. If indeed that was the point of entry. You didn't have to go upstairs if Ethan or Xana was the target. You could
Yeah,
just,
you would just do what you came to do, and
and
you'd be like, I don't want to get caught. So I
like,
understand the adrenaline thing, but
Mhm.
usually when your adrenaline's pumping, it wouldn't take a month to find evidence. You're not caring about the evidence. You're doing what your
That's a very, very, very good point, because so there's really okay, the fact that there has not been any notable progress in this case is frustrating for everyone who's following this case. And I think that it is very, easy, and sometimes we have a tendency to blame that, so to speak, on law enforcement, like they must have done something wrong. And it does seem like there is something there, but I don't know. I don't know. Who am I? I don't know. But so there's kind of two different things that could explain that. Is it that law enforcement in some way screwed up, or is it that this perpetrator was such a professional and had this so well planned out with contingency plans A through Z that they did not leave a trace behind? And that to me would indicate a serial killer.
Look, there was a choice. It was not a gun, it was a knife. And that person that went into that house, they felt comfortable going to that house because they knew the house. Either they've been there at parties previously or whatever the case. I'm not saying it's the boyfriend. I don't believe it's the boyfriend personally. But or the ex, sorry. Anyway, so that person felt comfortable being there. That this or there's an article, and I'm going to share it here, but it says that this was originally the mayor or somebody said it was a crime of passion, and then he got in trouble for saying that, so he had to retract that statement. Everybody from the beginning.
Wait, what did he say? Say that again. I didn't hear
it was
you.
an act of passion.
Crime of
a crime of passion, and then he had to retract that because law enforcement got after him. And I'm gonna put it in the back chat for you so you can read it. But that's so it had to be retracted. This person that did this, in my opinion, there was a woman involved. I don't know if it was the woman that did this.
Really? Why? Why is that? That just surprised me. Why is that?
It just seems methodical. It's methodical. Either a woman was there or it was some sort of like, hey,
It
do
seems
this. In my opinion,
methodical.
like methodical. Like there was like some
got it.
planning, but
I have a thought on that too.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead, K-Braze.
My bullet is going to match up to my gun, and it's easier to find what bullet would match the gun if someone went in there and just shot all of them. But my knife is going to leave the same marks as your knife, so it'd be a lot harder to figure out who did it.
So is that going to saying that let me ask you this. Do you believe that the person who committed this crime planned ahead? Do you think it was a serial killer?
I just think there's so many things that it could be that all of us are just trying to figure out, be the one to crack the code. It's just, I think the person knew that if he used a knife, everybody has knives. But if you used a gun, that bullet literally will lead back to the gun. You'd have a serial
but not
number.
the person. But not the person. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
gonna lead
you can
back to
track
somebody.
down you can track down bullets to certain guns. I know the ghost guns
No,
and all that,
but the gun is not going to lead to a certain person, is what I'm
But
saying.
but it's going to give you a pretty damn good lead. Guns, but yeah.
Then they could have checked everybody for ballistic powder right away. They could have done a lot of stuff, but with the knife, it's like
really good clues.
Yeah, and if you're using that knife, you're gonna cut yourself. You're gonna cut yourself unless you've worn gloves or done something
blisters,
to
at
make
least.
sure that you didn't get cut, which means planning ahead of time.
I use knives all the time for like cutting wood, and
But not
literally
killing 4 people.
you would have blisters.
Listen, I've spoken to a few people who have been in, two of them I can think have been in like high levels of the military. I've asked a few people I know about this. I can think of it as 5 or 6 guys I asked about this that are just really good with every kind of weaponry because it's somehow involved in their profession. Every single one of them said, if you were wearing gloves, if you were wearing whatever, one of them said this like special kind of glove that's supposed to, I don't even know about any of this stuff. All of them said there's no way in the world this person would have left that house without shedding their own blood. And that's all I can say because I don't know about knives. but I believe all of them. That's why I asked them, and it was a consensus. That's all. I
And
have
so
to
much
say
blood
about
in the house that there's none on outside at all. Like that to me is just like, did they go in a suit and then take it off, and then somebody
Yeah.
put it in the getaway car and drove off? All the evidence.
Great point. This was the knife attack. All of them were killed by a military-styled K-bar knife. This was a choice that the killer made. This was not something that was spur of the moment. Somebody was lying in wait, watching that happen, waiting for the lights to go off. There may have been even like some kind of the words they leave me now. It's been a rough day. But some kind of like tactical procedure to stalk out and stake out that house in order to see when the lights went out. This was not a spur of the moment passion killing as
I
far
mean,
as
night vision.
Yeah. Well, detectives did spend a lot of time taking pictures of where the room could be seen from. You could see them at the window trying to take pictures outside the window to see which apartment faced Kaylee's room, I believe it
Yep.
was. So they had that same thought. But
Well,
also
they could have done that with all of the rooms, and we just didn't have photos of
yeah,
it.
I don't think very good point. But and I also think like maybe what parents had that knife maybe it wasn't a kid that owned that knife, but it could have been a parent that owned it and the kid took it from them.
an older brother, an uncle.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
that was a military issue weapon. A K-bar knife was military issued. It may have been something ordered off the internet that's like a knockoff or something, but this person would have had military knowledge or aficionado, as far as I'm concerned. And I know there's a lot of people that enjoy knives and guns. My husband is one of them, but he has no military background as far as he's concerned. But there are others in his family that have. So I think that's something that we need to pay attention to.
I mean,
as
what
far
if someone pawned the knife even, and then someone bought it at a pawn shop? That's what I mean. You can't really
you
say
can
it was like a
find
military
pawn shop
person,
and
or you know.
knife show online, but there's going to be sorry, he's chiming in back there, but there's going to be like some kind of you have to seek after that type of weapon in order to get it. You have to have knowledge of it. I had to have knowledge of this type of weapon before this case, so it's not something that was known to me as a lay person. But there are people in the military and people like affiliated with the military or law enforcement, such as like nephews or sons or brothers, that would have known about this type of weapon. And yes, this person had gloves on. Yes, they were using some kind of night searching or night seeking.
Night
It was
vision.
tactical. Night vision, thank you. It was a tactical kind of attack as far as I'm concerned. Like they went in, they murdered 4 people and they left without a trace as far as not being detected 6 weeks into this case. I mean,
It's
6
too
weeks in,
clean.
that is precision. And I think that's something we need to pay attention to more than like just the ex-boyfriend who was sharing a
Yeah.
dog with a girl. Come on. We need to look at the facts of this case and
I
say
agree.
It almost looks like a mission.
it was a mission. It was an objective. Something went down where these people were targeted. They were sought after, probably the girls on the 3rd floor. And it may or may not come into play that Kaylee was leaving to go to Texas with her dog like the day after or whatever. It may or may not. But somebody was staking out this property, and this was like a mission for the killer, in my opinion.
You know, I just thought of something really, when you just spoke, it brought something to my attention that maybe the person knew all these people, like the neighbor guy that was a chef. Maybe she knew that, or the person knew that Jack was the ex that lived real close and they shared a dog. So they knew that there would be other people in the spotlight so they use that to their advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's something like that, because it seems like it's just way too planned for one person that don't have no military background, like you're saying. It seems like a mission, and maybe there was collateral damage.
It was very tactical, and they didn't have to go up to that third floor if this was so tactical. If Ethan and Xana were the targets, they didn't. That was an added risk to the mission.
But
And
wouldn't you check every door, every room, make sure that no one else was left in the house? You know what I mean? Like, it seems like, why would you go up? Why wouldn't you check every room? Like, if there was a certain reason you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you entered on floor 2, you go up to floor 3, take care of business, come back down to floor 2, take care of business because they heard something. Floor 3 was kind of a different floor plan. If we look at the original modeling of the house, they probably didn't hear much, and they could just come in, come out, clean up, and go out the way they came.
Oh, I would still check though. That's what I mean. It's weird that they went to 2 different floors, but if you're already on 2 floors, why not go to the other places?
Time was a limiting factor. They had to get in and get out and clean up as best they could.
Right. Another thing I just was thinking was that, I mean, these are all such great questions, and there are so many really solid questions that should be asked about this case. And one of the hard things I think for all of us is that we don't have a lot of the answers. I mean, another situation could be that they went up to the 3rd floor, did what they did, came downstairs, didn't anticipate Ethan was going to be there. I don't know if you've seen, I put up a video, like, I don't know, yesterday on Christmas Eve, and there's some video in there from the fraternity that has, the one at the end is the exclusive What's the Obsession video. I have a contact who, because the fraternity erased all of their videos, their pictures and everything, but I don't want to get too much into that right now. I have another one for you. Maybe I'll show at the end of this, but he's a big guy. He's tall, he's big, he looks muscular. His mom said he was extremely athletic. I have a video of him golfing. He's like really good at golfing, just which goes to show, I think, like his.
And who is this?
Ethan, his athleticism.
Yep.
So maybe the killer then ran into Ethan, whether he knew he was there or not, but certainly didn't think he was going to wake up, had a real struggle with Ethan, got hurt, and had to leave, you know?
And wouldn't that be messy?
There's a lot of reasons, Kelly, whether
Yeah.
that person heard something or felt something or knew something where they had to get out as quickly as possible. But I believe, I mean, it was just, with a knife attack, it's just such a bloody attack that they had to have cleaned up something, or else they're leaving something for the investigators to hone in
Like,
on
if
them.
you're in so big
Which
of a hurry,
I do
you're
think
not going to be like, oh, let me make sure I don't leave no blood on the doorknob when I leave, or the sliding door, or outside, or, you know what I mean? It seems like the cops didn't get called till noon, so there was plenty of time.
You'll know whether or not floor 2 were the targets and the bloody footprints were leading up to floor 3, or if floor 3 were the targets and the bloody footprints are leading down to floor 2.
But as soon as you go outside the house, there's nothing.
Well,
yeah, I know. I heard a lot of people say that. Like, what's up with as soon as you go outside the house, there's
maybe
nothing.
he took off his shoes. You know, this is a tactical killing. This was planned. This was researched. This is more or less, and I hate to put it in these terms, but this is more or less like a school shooting. It's a mass murder. It's not a serial killing. This is a spree killing where somebody plans this as one of the major events in their life. And they are so well planned for this, for whatever reason, because they saw it from, a frat house X miles away, or because they knew the victims personally or through social media, but this was planned and they knew what they were doing. This is tactical. They went in, they came out, and so far it looks as though there are no ties that lead the suspect to the crime.
The Hyundai car. That's what keeps getting me too, is the only proof I've seen so far is they seen it in surveillance drive by, like the neighbor's possibly camera,
Right.
But at the same time, they could have been the wrong street. Oh, I had to turn around. Sorry, I'm not from here. It's like, how could they pinpoint that directly to being part of the investigation, except possibly, in my opinion, someone did it real close. They had someone take all the stuff, their clothes they had on, they put it all in a bag. Maybe when they walked right out the door, hey, take this for me and don't come back. Like,
Yeah, there seems to be that element of somebody else involved as
Yeah.
far as cleaning up or lying in wait as like a getaway driver or something. But if this person were to have committed this crime completely isolated and by themselves, like they were completely streamlined and planned. This is a
Lone Ranger.
methodical murder. Methodical. And this was a targeted attack. They either knew the victims, knew them through social media, or saw them from a neighboring property. 100%.
I've looked up the new Land Rovers like that she had, and they have a full 3D security system on them that ties into the backup camera. That if any motion's close to it, I think it starts recording.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's what's getting me is if you look up the new Range Rover security system, it has like a aerial view from like a satellite that literally goes 3D, so you can, like the new cars have that, you could actually see the side of your car on your screen, the back of your car on the screen. And that's what I was kind of wondering, like, wait a minute, it's weird that they have this car, which if the car pulled in the back or if it pulled across in the back, that the record, that way if you have a hit and run and you're not in the car and didn't see who did it, it will record it if something happens.
Wow.
With respect to the car, but 100% I agree with you. This person came in through the back. They came in through the sliding glass door. In my opinion, just the way that I see it mapped out based on the geography and everything. It was nobody on the first floor was targeted, which is basically like the basement floor. So that's crucial.
Yep.
Maybe Ethan and Dana heard something when they were coming in and they were first, but the third floor girls were definitely not an issue if they hadn't been the target, in my opinion.
Now, I want to just share something with you before it goes too far past the point when we were talking about it. Now, this video, this is not mine. It's actually, I'm pulling it from the channel Evil Exists, but it's originally from Plunder. I'd imagine most of you are subscribed to Plunder. If you're not, don't walk, but run yourself to subscribing. It's like an awesome channel for true crime. And Paula Mooney, the creator of Plunder, does amazing research work. I don't think I've listened to this video. I did see this on Plunder, but let's just watch this because, well, I'm going to play the video, so I'll let them talk so you don't hear it twice.
Neighbor of 1122 King Road. The girl in that body cam footage reported an incident with her car and some of her stuff. No proof at this time whether this incident is related to the Idaho 4 killings, but definitely something to keep in mind. When police arrived on the scene, they saw a footprint on the seat of her car. They said there is not much they can do with that. However, if they do catch the perpetrator and find his shoes, then they can possibly match it up. All credit for obtaining this footage goes to Plunder, and I encourage you guys to head over and watch the full video on her channel. Here we see the house, the Idaho 4 house. It's basically right behind this house, and clearly visible from the officer's body cam. However, something that really grabbed my attention is this right here. At 15 minutes, 43 seconds into the video, I believe this is Jack D's house. Jack D, as in Kaylee's ex-boyfriend.
It is.
Look in the driveway. Does that look like a white Elantra to you? Whose car is that? Let's look at this car and the one they are searching for side by side. What do you think? Drop your comments down below. Could this be the car?
Now, and it should be noted that I have a map of it somewhere.
Today I want to go over.
Oh gosh, it freaking took me so long to find out the information I needed. Now I've been searching for this map and I can't find it, but Jack D's house is, it looks to be about 3 blocks, probably less, from that 1122 King Street. So, you know, and I'm just saying, this is just something we know so little. This is something we do know. We know that he did live very close by, and I'm not saying that it was Jack D, but when we're talking about, you know, doing what was done there and getting away and not being caught, you know, I think that is something that would certainly be considered, right? So I just want to read this. This is a good point here. So yeah, the Rockaways is saying to Street Legal Model T, any text or voicemails at that time, what's up, Snapchat, etc. I think this is what you mean, but even if it's not what you mean, it made me think of this, but I think this is what you mean, as I just said. You know, we need so much more information and context than we have for like all points in this case. You know, for example, we know that, you know, the number I keep hearing, different outlets say different things, but I keep hearing 7 calls and several texts from Kaylee's phone to Jack, 2 calls from Maddie. They didn't mention text, or I haven't heard anyone mention text. Well, what about other means of communication? If I really want to get a hold of somebody, I was just thinking of times I really need to get a hold of somebody. It wasn't because I was being an obsessive ex-girlfriend or anything like that. It was like emergency situations.
Yeah.
I would contact them on Messenger. I would contact them on WhatsApp. I would contact them by any means possible. So that's a really interesting point. We don't know what kind of communication or evidence there is on those different communication platforms. We just know about the phone calls and the mentioning of the text from Kaylee. Kind of like, you know, we don't know about, you know, Kaylee and Jack's communication habits. Does she have a habit of calling him 10 times and way like late in the middle of the night and him not answering? Has she done that before and he answers every time? And this is the first time he did not. That would tell us something. You know what I mean? So there's so much more information out there, and hopefully police are like on the ball, going out and getting it and bringing it in and analyzing and evaluating it.
I agree.
I'm worried, but I hope
think
we're doing it.
I think law enforcement is light years ahead of us as far as this investigation. I think that they're honing in on somebody, and it's just about probable cause and trying to convict somebody with enough evidence.
You don't want to
at
mess
this
it
point.
up before you accuse somebody and charge them, because it could actually be worse in the end.
For the trial.
Yeah, I think they know. I think they know at this point. Enough time has gone by to get back the forensic evidence as far as any kind of DNA analysis from mixed samples of the victim's blood and possibly the killer's blood, or footprint evidence, as we were talking about earlier, from going from one floor to the other, the directionality. I think that this is going to give major clues to law enforcement as to who was a target, what happened, what likely happened.
Wait, what footprint are you talking about?
Well, it's a slang. It's a bloody massacre of these 4 individuals in this house.
Oh, I got you.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so there's going to be blood footprints.
When was the
in
car
one direction
break-in?
or the other?
When what in November 13th, 3 a.m. They say between 3 and 4 a.m.
So that to me could be like, hey, that's weird that this happened, like someone staged that, because they really didn't get anything out of that deal except the cops came and put it on the record that there's something suspicious in the neighborhood. So if something else happens, we know that, you know, something's just been going on. Maybe someone's just targeting the neighborhood, and then next thing you know, that happens. But the Jack thing to me, the calls and the not answering, if I was dating you for 5 years and you broke up with me, I would be watching my phone every second of the day for you to call me, because I would do anything that you asked me to get back with you.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about that too. I mean, this was kind of manipulative language, and I hate to say that about victims, but we share a dog together. Call me back
It
ASAP.
certainly was. It was manipulative. Yes, that was a
He knew that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew Kaylee well. He knew her ways, you know. But yeah,
But the roommates are the only ones that came out and said he was sleeping. Like they peeked in his room every 5 minutes and said, "Oh, that time? Oh, he was sleeping."
Yeah, maybe he was just fed up, but he turned his phone off and he went to bed. Totally possible. that doesn't exclude other people that may have been watching this house or watching these girls either in real life or via social media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to eliminate any possibility at this point without concrete evidence, and we don't have the evidence that law enforcement
That's
has.
the problem.
So no, it's not a problem. I mean,
No,
this
that we
is
don't have evidence, even a little bit.
Problem for
no,
us.
it's
Yeah.
not a problem for us, but it is an excellent thing for investigators to have at this point as far as creating a case and convicting the perpetrator of these crimes, because what's worse than knowing who did it than to just let them get off because we gave them too many clues through social media.
Wait, I just want to read a couple of the comments here. First, I don't want to get caught up on this because I have 4 comments started that I really want to read, and it's all to the points of what you guys are saying up here on panel 2. But I do want to pause to read this. Duchess, and welcome, Duchess. Glad you're here. Also, welcome Heavenly Clouds, Uptown QT, and Sarah Carey, and everyone else who came in. They just happened to be up on the screen for me. But welcome, guys. Says, the neighbor did not come out with a recording. It was a YouTuber lying, faking the scream. The neighbor only gave the interview, but he is very suspect besides the recording that was not his. Thank you for saying that, Duchess. Actually, right after the channel, what is it, Joe Morris? Please, if you're subscribed, go
Joseph
unsubscribe.
Morris.
Joseph
Yeah.
Morris. He has been proven to fabricate evidence to show people on YouTube, obviously, to get clicks and views. So
No, he has a speculation.
this is my channel stance on his channel. I've done a lot of research into this. I don't like it. So it just happened that just before my live stream a few weeks ago, he had aired this video, saying that it was recorded around the time of the murders and you could hear a woman screaming. So one of the subscribers told me about it. Double R graciously went and got the link, gave it to me so I could share it with everybody because it seemed like it could be late breaking news. So being live, I just played it, and I had noticed this Joseph Morris's channel just very recently. It came into my feed or whatever, and I was like, oh, look, he has a lot of subscribers. I saw some of my subscribers in the chat, whatever. So then people started, sending me messages being very upset that I had played his video. Well, a couple days later, it comes out that, it's all completely proven that he changed the wording in articles to make it look like what he was putting up on the screen was real, to apparently give him some kind of credibility as this news breaking sleuth, which he is not. So that, if you haven't heard yet, which you probably have, it's a bunch of BS. And shame on you, Joseph Miller. That's disgusting.
Morris.
Oh, I'm sorry. Morris. Okay. So the next one I want to read. Heavenly Cloud says, Jack D at this point in time had the most motive. Kelly broke it off 3 weeks before the murder. Here's the way I think about this. I think of all the suspects that where we know their name and we can put a face to name or we know anything about them. I agree with you. I do think he had the most motive. I really have been starting to think, and I totally could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong now. I know I'll be wrong again. That Jack D is the only person that we know of that really has like motive. I mean, there could be someone out there where we just don't know about the motive. So was it, and I'm not saying it's him. I really don't know what I think right now. I keep getting swayed around on this one. Was it Jack D? I'm just saying, for example, because he has the most motive, or since nobody else really seems to have a motive, was it somebody that has a motive that we as normal thinking human beings, I'm giving us all credit here, can't even comprehend, like the mind of a serial killer? I really am starting to think that's
a serial killer, yes, or a school shooter. I think it's more of a school shooter situation where somebody, this is like revenge based because of who these people represent more than who they are as individuals.
Right. Do you think of this totally different if the dog wasn't involved at all?
I might. I mean, I'm actually in the middle. I'm hoping to put it out tomorrow. I wanted to play it tonight, but I want the video to come out kind of fresh.
Okay.
I'm putting a video together. It's everything about having with a dog. And when I was researching and putting this together, it's been very much on my mind. The dog is becoming a much bigger deal to me.
You can drug a dog. You can drug a dog.
And the dog, I don't think needed to be drugged. I think the dog, that breed of dog is very docile. My stepsister has one. I was just with a dog for 2 days at my mom's for Christmas. This dog is so freaking sweet.
It's
Like
a golden doodle, right?
exact, yes. And I
Yeah.
know a couple other people that have them. They're very docile. If you gave the dog a treat, if you gave the dog a rawhide to gnaw on, if you knew the dog,
If you gave the dog a Benadryl, for
right, yeah,
example, or
you
a
could eat,
Xanax,
yeah. If you
You know the difference is though, if the dog was watching you do it all, it'd be different. But somehow he usually sleeps with the girls, but he was put in a room all by himself.
exactly, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. The dog was
And that's true.
distracted,
That
which
that was said. That was definitely said. That is true. We know
which
that.
adds to this level of planning of the perpetrator, in my opinion. The perpetrator knew the dog was there. They knew the patterns of the people.
You would have to
They
go
were
into the
lying
girl's
and
room
watching.
and take the dog out of the room and put him in another room without the girls out of the girl's bed without them waking up and say, "Come on, put him
Or
in another room," and then
or
go
have
back and
been
kill
there
him.
before the girls got home and put the dog away. That's a possibility too.
But I don't see. Okay. Here, this is part of what I'm saying in the video. Okay, so this could be a reason where first of all, I don't think that was done beforehand, and here's why. They were so attached to that. And there's also stories there, as I've heard from several sources. I don't know this for sure to be true, but I kind of thought this was the case, that they took the dog out to relieve himself, before they, got ready for bed or whatever it was. But if the girls came home, and we know that they came home at 1:45 and the murders were not until 3 to 4 a.m. and they didn't see Murphy for an hour and 15 minutes, I think Kaylee would have freaked out. It seems like they all really love that dog. So to me, that kind of eliminates the possibility of someone being in the house, because if someone were in the house, I think the dog would give indication, or they would, I don't know. I don't know.
Or is that why she texts, "Hey, we share that dog"?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
she didn't see the dog.
Maybe she didn't see the dog.
She's like, "Jack, we share that dog. Like, did you come get him?"
Like, where's the dog?
That would make sense why she would say that, because Jack knows they share a dog. Why would you text that to him?
Yeah.
Well, you're either being manipulative or that. I never thought of that. It's a good thing. So I haven't seen the text, but from what everyone says, she says, "Jack, we shared a dog together." To me, if it was like that Murphy is missing, like, I feel like the natural thing would be to say "the" instead of but now I'm starting to nitpick. Statement analysis. I'll take a look at this now that you mention it. It is a really good point. It's a very good point. We don't know. We've been thinking of that statement in one way, but it really could be, it needs to be looked at in a different light. That's an excellent
Maybe
point.
Murphy was already in the room, but like you said, it was 1:30 something. It's 3:30. Maybe that's why she said, "We share dog together." Like, you're supposed to be here.
But then when the text message would be like, though, but this is a good point. But now I'm thinking about more. If Murphy was missing, and she thought she would be like, "Where the fuck is the dog?" I think
You
she'd
would
be
keep
like,
calling Jack to figure out where he was, right?
yeah.
Over and over and over and over.
Or maybe Murphy was ill or incapacitated, and she was concerned about that. Like, Murphy's
You live
not
2
getting
blocks
up.
away. You would go
He's
knock.
like passed out.
But she would
Like,
say
what's
that, I
wrong
think,
with
in
this
the
dog?
text. Murphy's passed out. I can't get the dog, Or I think she put him in the car and take him to the emergency room.
Or call one of Jack's roommates. She has to have one of the roommates' numbers. "Hey, Jack's not answering. What's going on?"
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't
she
know.
did. Maybe
There's a
she
lot
did.
to think about here. There's a lot to think about. Wait, there's another couple comments I want to read here. Let's see. You guys, the people in chat are coming up with excellent comments. I think the people are just so interested in this case and been following and taking all the facts and really thinking about them seriously. Great comments here. I wish I could read every single one of them. Let's see. Hold it. It was something about let's see. I don't know. Here, I'll keep looking for them. I don't know, guys. You can keep going on chat. And if you want.
I mean,
Wait, I got it. Sorry, wait, before I lose it. Okay, sorry. Think of it this way. You're a decorated police officer in the community. You have a secret affair / obsession with a young student. She decides it's over and has an exit plan. They find out and go crazy. I think that this person, I'm certainly not saying I think it's a police officer. Relax, everybody. I think that this, just to me, I don't know. And that when this while ago, we were talking about, the profiling of the murder and using my behavioral therapist analyst skills. I have my own profile that I've made up that I just had in my mind.
Kelly,
Yeah.
please share. Please share your profile because
Okay,
I'm very interested.
Okay, all right, I will. I'll share. I don't know. I haven't wanted to put it out there, but I don't know. I don't know why, but I just so strongly believe that this person had to have some kind of training, whether it's military, whether it's police, whether it's I don't know,
Agreed.
some kind of martial arts, something, some kind of discipline.
Like hand-to-hand combat kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and also and I think something that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be connected to their training, but another thing I very strongly think is something in their lifestyle that has exposed them to very bloody situations that doesn't phase them and it doesn't bother them, or that they in some
Yeah.
enjoy.
And that could be animal or human, right, Kelly?
Yeah, it could be animal or human, yes. But
Agreed.
But then it comes back to
100%.
Murphy.
What's that?
Then to me, it comes back to the dog. Like, to me, if someone's going to make it look like it was random and all that, you would try to get rid of everybody in the house, including the dog, because the dog's the only thing that ties one person to the whole scene.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, I think the dog, I do, yeah, and it's just
You
going back
couldn't kill your dog.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's
People
a
are
good
more
point.
attached to their animals than people most of the times. He's
That's
not
a
mad
good
at the
point.
dog.
He's not mad at the dog. That could be very relevant.
Yeah, could be.
Or
Let me
it
read.
could be
Go ahead.
just that the dog was drugged or somehow otherwise incapacitated.
Yeah, it could be. So Karen G says this case has echoes of the Gainesville Ripper and Ted Bundy for sure. It's reminiscent, but it's so up in the air right now. So you guys, many of you probably know, but those are two cases of serial killings. And it does have echoes of that. Man, Ted Bundy really got some Ted Bundy isms here. Except we don't know.
Just real quick about that. I think that's a great point because these were serial killers, but these were spree killings by these serial killers, not 100% their MO. Like Ted Bundy was on the run at that point when he went into Tallahassee and committed those sorority murders. Like he was desperate at that point. And the same thing with the Gainesville killer. He was a serial killer, but he was on a spree because he was basically facing some kind of immense pressure of being caught or he was on the run for something. So I think those are good points. But this kind of lends more to a spree killing than a serial killing to me.
Well,
but there is some overlap.
There is some overlap, but there is overlap when you look at the profile of serial killers. For some of them there is an element of spree killings, because let's think about this, like with what we know about people. Somebody who's a serial killer does not have a normal composition of a mind or constitution of being whatsoever. So oftentimes they have underlying conditions, like they're manic depressive. And hey, listen, a lot of people out there have manic depression, and I'm not saying those who have manic depression tend towards serial killing. Please don't anybody mix that one up, okay? But they have something that's going on that might lend them to going through phases where, due to their paranoia or due to their manic state or due to their fear of being caught or due to their lack of connection with reality,
or fear of abandonment, even
they feel compelled to kill a lot.
A trigger.
There is element of killing with some serial killers.
Yeah, there's a trigger. Good word for that. There's like a life event that is so catastrophic that leads these people with these psychopathic tendencies to just go balls to the wall.
Usually losing someone or knowing you're getting ready to lose someone.
Yeah.
Or a job or, anything like that. Like a sense of self, a sense of being.
It's
like
like
a sense
the
of
end.
identity.
You feel like you can't go on. It's time to just go out.
Yeah. Desperation. Yeah.
Desperation. Exactly.
Yeah. April, let's see. April Lors, and welcome, April. How are you doing? Says, and hi, Randy. How are you? Welcome, by the way. I saw you earlier. I didn't have a chance to say hi, though. I think I was playing a video. It says, I think it's a man scorned from the bar. I very heavily thought about this in the beginning. I still think it's a possibility. I think anything's a possibility. We don't know. But she says, I think it's a man scorned from the bar. I didn't think the conversation at the food station had anything to do with the murders. He followed the Uber and cased the house and watched from a distance to see. I think that's very possible. You know, on the Interview Room, the creator, whose name I always forget, you know, went there,
Chris
was looking.
McDonough.
Thank you, Mike McDonough. I'm so sorry,
Chris
Mike.
McDonough.
Chris McDonough. See, I don't even know when I hear it. I love the Interview Room. I watch it all the time, and I can never remember his name. I don't know why. It just doesn't stick for my head. He went to the scene, and he was showing footage of walking like all around the house and showing us all of these different vantage points where someone could very, very easily hide, and they truly, really would not be seen. Let me bring up some screenshots I took right here. And I think he made some very good points there, based on what he said and what he showed us. Let's see, where's the Chris McDonough stuff?
And to that point, Kelly, Chris
Mm-hmm.
put out like a 16-minute video the other day. I shared it with the other mods, but it was just so on point as far as the profiling of this killer. Like it was so closely aligned, and I'll email it to you too.
Yeah, please do.
But
I'm always out of the mod loop,
really,
guys. Loop me in. My moderators party without me all the time.
I mean, with respect to the profiling of the killer, it was just so spot on as far as I'm concerned. But the only thing it left out was the style of knife, which I think it's important. I think it shows a level of like military or knifing or hunting aficionado. That's one thing that it left out, but everything else was just 100% spot on. And this was somebody 100% more qualified than me to make this profile. So if let me send that to you now, Kelly, if I can.
Yeah.
I might follow
Oh my God, I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. Yeah. So here, let me show you some of these pictures here from the Interview Room with Chris McDonough. I did it. Okay. Here we go. All right. So
Wasn't Kaylee only there for the weekend?
she was. Oh my gosh, she was only there for the weekend. She wanted to show off her range.
So did she bring the dog with her, or did Jack have the dog and let the dog go over? That's the thing that clicks in
I
my
truly don't
head.
know. You know what? That's a good question. I'm going to look into that especially for my dog video that I have coming out. That's a very good question. Very good question. Yeah. And what you're seeing right here that's a great question. I'm going to look into that. Does anyone know if Kaylee had the dog with her and brought Murphy with her when she came back to University of Idaho for the weekend, or did Jack have the dog? And then when Kaylee came in for the weekend,
and she was going to take the dog that's what the bar guy could have heard, that she's taking the dog with him because maybe he had the dog.
Absolutely. That's totally possible. That's really good thinking. So this is from the Interview Room, Chris McDonough, Chris right there, Chris McDonough. So he's just showing you this is how you can see so clearly. Took this picture of the house from the woods right next to the house. And then there's more pictures here. Here's another one. Look at that. You can see practically right into those windows, right? I don't know why I have this in the middle of it, but I don't know. I take a lot of pictures. Where's more Chris McDonough stuff? Oh, this is from other sources. I guess that's all I took. Okay, never mind. But yeah, so he the whole video, if you haven't seen it, I think you should definitely watch it. I think it's worth a watch. Chris McDonough, the Interview Room. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the bad thing with social media. You could literally look at all the kids' TikToks and all their Facebooks and map the house out room by room just by that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that with Zillow. Just look at the last time the property was sold, and you can see room by room the layout of the house.
Yeah.
What girl was in what picture on what bed? They're usually together.
Yeah, when you live on social media like that, and this kind of ties back to the Watts case a little bit.
Yeah.
But you invite anybody into your life when you post like that, open to the
and
world.
All the parties that we've been seeing the body cam footage. The one kid said, I checked every room. There's no one here that lives here, but I thought the rooms had pin codes on them. That was kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I think we don't know very. I don't think we don't know for sure. Wait. Okay, so Patricia asks in chat, and welcome, Patricia. How are you doing? And Jennifer S. and RC Bateman and Hens and S and everybody else in chat. Welcome. Patricia says, why is there a car involved? That's a great question, Patricia. And the answer is none of us know.
No.
We have no idea why the authorities are looking for the white Hyundai Elantra. We just don't know.
Yeah, they think that they were there
Which
and they
is
saw
annoying as
something.
hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kelly, I did send that to your email if you want to look at the link. It was
absolutely.
brilliant. It was 100% brilliant. So good. And
Awesome. Let's check it
Chris
out.
had actually cut it down from a live stream where it was just the one guy talking about the profile. And I thought, man, this was just 100% in line with what I was thinking, minus the fact that I think there was some kind of military aspect or police or military aficionado as far as the style of knife. But yeah, I sent that to your email if you want to check it out.
I'll check it out. I just want to bring up this. Thank you very much. Susan K says, I heard something quite shocking. They said it was a house full of people using the D word and users of fentanyl. Also, there was a group. YouTube's been banging me over the head. That's
Parties.
Parties. They like to party together without a lot of clothes on. Thank you. Sounds like it could be someone spreading nasty rumors. I believe. Well, what do I know? I believe those are nasty rumors. I think a lot of people watching this are going to know this. There are a lot of YouTube, unfortunately, it seems to be focused mostly on YouTube channels. And I think the reason is because people get monetized on YouTube. Luckily, there are channels like this one that will always stick as closely as possible to the facts, limit speculation, although speculation at this point in the game is part of, trying to figure out if anyone's going to figure out what's going on, because it's just such a scary case that this killer is at large and we don't know of any resolution in the near future. But anyway, there are channels in the other category that, just like that Joseph Morris person, if you're subscribed, please go unsubscribe, who put things out there just to bait you in and me in and all of us in. And so I have a feeling that falls into that category, Susan. So, I mean, I don't know what you think, but I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a little spotlight.
Take it with a grain of salt and just realize where these people are coming from. Like, notice people's motivation when they're putting this content out. And if they have the true investigation and the families of the victim or front of their mind when they're putting content. So
Yes, I agree with that. And I just want to say that Jeannie Ramsey, and Jeannie Ramsey is a moderator of this channel, and she's also just she also volunteers for Class Kids, which is a great organization. It's founded by I can't think of the father's name right now. I don't know, it's getting late for me. But Paula Class, who was a missing child. Unfortunately, they did not find that child alive. He founded this organization, Class Kids. It has an amazingly solid record of actually finding the kids and teens that they look for that are missing, and Jeannie volunteers for them. But anyway, she says, and love you, Jeannie, says you can buy a K-bar at a military or surplus store. I have one. I'd heard that from several people. I don't know, but
they were government issued, right, for a period of time, but eventually, like, you can get them through other means, like shows or through a military store like that. But they're going to be limited. It's not something you go to Walmart and buy. You can't buy a K-bar at Walmart. So it's going to be a little bit more targeted as far as tracing. If you can find the weapon or find somebody that may have had an interest in this weapon, I think that would be very substantial.
Like you said earlier, someone's dad, someone's grandpa could have had one.
Yeah, they could have been passed down. This is going to be in this person's search history. They're going to be watching videos about this kind of weapon. This is going to be
unless they're really familiar with it, maybe. But these are all possibilities. Here, wait, I just want to read another couple comments here. Susan K again says, why leave the dog alone? I want to know, was Murphy barking like crazy? He should have been. What I heard about Murphy, several people had said something like this about Murphy. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. That Murphy was one that would do the like the whimper. We all know that doggy whimper, super cute until it gets really annoying, and would scratch at the door if he was in a room with a door door shut and he didn't want to be. This was said from people that were in the house, his friends and people were in the house for parties and for some other reasons. And that was like his MO. Murphy wasn't a big barker. From everybody who had any exposure to this dog that I communicated with, that's what they had to say about Murphy, if they had anything to say about that at all. So
he was a young dog. He was like
What's
less
that?
than a year old, right?
He was what?
A puppy.
He was 10 months old. And so, one of the thoughts is, I can't remember if it was my thought or someone else said it, and then it's my thought because I thought about it again. I honestly don't remember. But, if Kaylee and Maddie were targeted, or one of them was targeted, and that person was up on the third floor, and maybe in the moment of what they're doing with all of that adrenaline or psychoticness or whatever the hell was going through that person at that moment, they might not have been very aware of any noise that Murphy was making. But was Murphy whimpering and pawing at the door and getting louder with his whimpers and pawing more furiously, and therefore Ethan woke up because of that and came out, and Xana woke up because Ethan just woke up in a panic and she's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And therefore that's why I believe Ethan was found in the kitchen near the open sliding glass door. I made a video about that in the 911 call. I very firmly believe that's how it all went down, just like I said on that video. And maybe that, I don't know.
So what do you think, Kelly? Do you think that Ethan was killed before or after the girls on the third floor?
Okay, all right. Well, I have two conflicting pieces of information there, because the speculative story that I just told you, but I also have and there's so much out there. I have all this stuff like on record. Like when I put videos out about it, I fact check it before I put it out. But in live stream, sometimes when I'm talking about it, I can't.
I know, but what is your tell you?
So or well, I want to tell you things I heard. Then I'll tell you what I think. Or Ethan was the first person, because we know that he was the first one to be taken out of the house by a notable amount of time before Maddie and Kaylee's and Xana's remains were taken out. So does that mean that there was less processing to do with him because he didn't have, because the first person wouldn't have the sample, the evidence of the second and third and fourth person on them. The second person would have the samples or the evidence of the first person on them. The last person would have the evidence of the first, the second, and the third person on that, making any evidence you wanted to collect from that person really confusing, because everything would be mixed together. So that might make you think, Gregory, was it you that first said that? And then I don't know, that he was first. I kind of lean towards he was first. I kind of lean towards he confronted this person. Unfortunately, the perpetrator won that fight. Even if he was hurt, had enough adrenaline and determination in his sick mind to continue what was going on. I just kind of think that. I don't even know exactly why. That's just my sense about it. Do you have any?
That just made me think too that if it was somebody that we think knows the people, you would know that he lives there, and you would know that he could potentially be home. And if you feel like you can't overpower him, you wouldn't take that chance.
He didn't live there. He didn't live there. He was visiting his
Yeah,
girlfriend.
I mean that he would be there.
Well, I believe whoever did this was watching the house and knew the comings and goings that evening. Right. So maybe they went in and saw him as the biggest threat, to Kelly's point, and took him out first, and proceeded with, I would imagine, Xana, and then went upstairs. But the perpetrator wouldn't have had to gone upstairs if Xana or Ethan were the target.
Yeah.
They could have gone in, gone out, and just been done with it.
But Murphy comes back to all the questioning that comes down to it. That's why I asked earlier if the dog wasn't in the picture, would you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you?
No, I think that's a really important question. I think it's a very important question. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's an important question. It's so frustrating. Sometimes I don't know what to say because I don't have the answers, because none of us have the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have to just look at the choices the killer made.
And I think that's a really great approach, DC. I think it's very, very wise. I think it's really smart the way you think about it like that.
And decipher like what would have been if this were a mission, carry out the mission, the choices that were made, why the mission was carried out, and kind of go from there. And there's going to be forensic evidence that we don't have any access to at this point. That's
right.
going to give a very clear picture of what happened.
That's right. Now, go ahead. Sorry.
And who was the target? That's all I had to say.
Right. Now, you keep bringing up this point that, the killer didn't have to go upstairs. And I know that Kaylee Gonsalves's father also said that in one of his videos. Now, I think, again, I think that what this man says, and I think that there's a lot that you can unpeel with what he says here, but I just keep thinking about that as you're saying that. So let's just listen to part of the interview where he does say that. This interview is, to me, was the interview where he was kind of the most frustrated with the authorities and spoke out about it a little bit. I think many of you have probably seen it, but let's watch it together very carefully and see what comes out of it.
There, joining me now on set, the parents of Kaylee Gonsalves, Christy and Steve Gonsalves. Thank y'all so much for being with me. You guys have been so transparent and strong for the public. Christy, you called the person that did this the boogeyman.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
It's literally like what nightmares are made of. Like when you're a little kid and you think of the boogeyman, that's just how I feel. Like that's.
Oh, wait, I just want to say something really quick because I'm going to forget if I don't read it right now. And whoops. Is it? Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. So I think that and welcome, by the way, I think they need to look into the ride-along guy that was with the police on September 1st. Oh, okay. I thought it was something else. Okay. Yeah, there was a ride-along guy with the police on the September 1st call where they went to the house for a noise complaint. Okay. So possibly, yeah. Okay.
Just the horrific details of everything, them just having a good time going home and going to bed, and that's happening to them.
Your best friend crawling into bed.
Just crawling in bed.
Every girl
and the
in
boogeyman
America
comes.
knows what that's like.
The boogeyman doesn't, meet you at McDonald's. I mean, the boogeyman comes and snatches you out of your bedroom.
Steve, we've been talking. I've been talking to folks in the community. You said something that stuck with me. You said, until this person is caught, you can't sleep in your bed.
No, I can't just lay in my bed and do nothing. That's not the way I raised my family. That's not the way I raised my girls and my son. You don't be a victim. You stand up for yourself and you do everything in your power to make sure people hear you. And they're gonna hear Kaylee. They're gonna hear Maddie. They're gonna hear these.
The other two as well.
Yes. I'm careful saying anything about them because I need to be careful because I can't speak on somebody else's child. But these two girls, I'm not trying to be a glory hound, but these two girls, I'm going to do what I can do. And we're not being victims. We're going to fight. We're going to figure out how to make sure that we hold everybody, accountable, and we keep eyes and attention on this and get this thing resolved.
Steve, you have made it very clear to our audience that you are supportive of law enforcement.
One second. What's that?
Real quick, Kelly, I apologize. Okay. But as far as the wound, what was the coroner saying about the wounds on the victims as compared to the other? Because
well, the coroner said, and I have that's I have 2 videos in production, the coroner and Murphy the dog. So
okay.
The coroner says, she just says they were stab wounds with, she calls it knife different things at different times. She says, and one time she says everyone's sleeping. One time she says, she really strongly implies that not everyone was sleeping, and that's really all she says about it. I'm a little tired, but yeah. But she says more to the family about it apparently than that. But that's what she said to media.
So what I remember hearing was that some of the victims had more extensive wounds or means of dispatching.
Well,
Is that similar to what you?
I don't feel like the coroner said it quite like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to answer that question right now.
Okay.
But here, let's see what Steve said about that. And I'm actually going to look at something I have in my files here on my desktop and see if I can answer that better.
Support the investigation. But recently, I've been watching and talking with you, and you're getting frustrated.
Sorry again.
What is that?
I don't know if it's on my end, but there's like a lot of background noise, like muffling.
Yeah.
So everybody can mute that. Kelly's playing.
Yeah, I hear that too, and I'm not sure if it's I don't know. Yeah, Kay, if you're not muted, I didn't want to say wrong. Kay Brace, if you're not muted, oh wait, I'll just mute. I'm gonna mute you, Kay Brace. Let's see that. Okay, yeah, it just happens sometimes to all of us. I just muted you, so when you want to talk, we'll mute you. Okay, let me keep playing it. Thank you.
Frustration come from, sir?
They put certain people between you and the officers that are making things happen, and those people are like lawyers, and they don't want to say anything, and they don't have the guts to come up and be alpha and be like leaders and say, hey, we might say something that's wrong, we're going to take that hit. So the officers, they look me straight in their eyes. The lead detective looked me in his eyes. I have no doubt he's working as hard as he can, but somebody isn't communicating. There's nothing being released. It seems like they're trying to suppress the story. We want to put rewards out. They're like, don't do that. Yeah, I get it. Your town doesn't want to have reward posters posted all over when you come and you do your rush. You're not going to get a lot of students if they see those things. But this community is not going to heal until this guy's pulled off the streets. It ain't going to happen. Think it through. It's not going to happen. He has to be off the streets. We all are working for the same thing.
When was the last time y'all heard from the police?
Thursday,
we looked at our phone records. We want to be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
About 3 o'clock on Thursday.
And did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They needed me to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something.
Some mail.
That was mail related. So we're working with them. We're not selling them out. We love our law support.
The FBI, everybody that's here. We just have no information as family, and it gets tough day after day after day. I mean, every day you just wake up and think today's the day. We're going to hear something, and you see these, there's a break in the case, and it'll just be something stupid.
The sixth person on the lease that was never there. Stop playing games. This is serious. These are people's lives, and this is the future of this community. There's going to be 10,000, 15,000 kids that come into this community next year, or they don't. So be serious.
I had the opportunity to speak to some of my sources, and I've been told that there were differences in the way that the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard the target attack walk back and then reverse it back to it being a target attack. What can you tell us about the targeted attack?
They have told us that it was targeted, but they told us they can't tell who. We asked specifically, and they said, we'll try to get that information to you. And they got back to us a day or so later, and they said, we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted, or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
they don't,
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to go up the steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just gonna say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill. Sent my daughter to college to get an education. She came back in the box, and I can speak on that.
Damn. Oh my God. Every time I hear that, I just feel so bad for them.
God,
My God.
I haven't seen this before, but
you haven't? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, maybe she hasn't seen it.
Palpable. The dad's frustration, like he is, he's fed up.
Yeah, my God. And because I focused so much on the dad, I was just watching the mom and just the pain. You can just see the pain you can see on her. It hurts you. It's wow. Oh, wait, I'm unmuting you, Kay Bray. Sorry about that. Yeah,
And the dad, to his credit, is sensitive to the town, right? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna 15,000 kids coming in, and nobody can get arrested until we get the killer apprehended. So he's sensitive to like all the extrinsic factors in this case. But he's saying, like, don't mess with me, dude. Just tell me straight up what's going on. Because, I've put my life, my heart, my soul, my money into sending my daughter to college, and she's finished. And this happened to her. Like,
Yeah.
wow. Like, he's not mincing words here at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. No, he's not mincing words at all. And he just let me go back to just want to go back to the last minute or so, because now let me explain something first. So putting information together, I found something out here. Okay. He at some point says that I'm gonna just go back to where he says it because I'm gonna misquote him, but you might be interested here.
The whole house was targeted, but
I'll cut to the chase.
No, it's before this.
What can you tell us about the targeted attack?
They have told us that it was targeted, but they told us they can't tell who. You just wake up and think
Investigate something.
Some male.
That was male related. To be off the streets. We all detective looked me in his eyes.
It's right here. All right, I got it. Okay, here. All right, sorry.
And be like leaders and say, hey, we might say something that's wrong.
No,
we're gonna take that
here.
And you're getting frustrated.
Right here.
What does that frustration come from, sir?
They put certain people between you and the officers that are making things happen. And those people are like lawyers and they don't want to say anything. And they don't have the guts to come up and be alpha and be like leaders and say, hey, we might say something that's wrong. We're going to take that hit. So the officer.
Okay. So he very recently said that in regards to another statement where it was said that he was calling the police officers cowards, that he was really referring to the lawyers who, and then in that later interview, not this one, this was just very recent, says it was the lawyers that are being an obstacle for the families receiving all of the proper information. They're kind of like, standing in the way, slowing things down. So now, what was I watching? Where again, I'm like losing sight of what the sources were. But anyway, it was from a good source. That there had been all of this information coming out saying, oh, it was a target attack. And then it seemed like it was walked back. And then all of a sudden it was a target attack again. It was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Now to us, just the viewer who's taking in all the information or as much information as we can about this case, we're thinking that it's law enforcement who keeps flip-flopping back and forth. But what really was going on was the investigators saying one thing, and then the prosecutor's office, the attorneys, saying another, but the police themselves were not changing the story as much as I think that we all believe. So I think that that's an important point to clarify. I know a lot of people, including myself, have been talking about that. So that's really a point for the police there. They haven't been as conflicting with themselves as we believe. When I went back and watched video, this all proved to line up with what was said about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, go ahead.
I heard that Brian Enton on Duty Ron, they had an exclusive interview with him, and he had said something to that effect, that there was some misinformation or communication between the investigators and the prosecutor's office. And I had no idea what that was about.
Yeah.
So thank you for kind of alluding to that, because that'll give me a starting point to look into this further.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I know that, for whatever that's worth, that clarification I just gave you, people have been talking about and asking so many questions, related to, all the topics that I just sort of, threw in there. So I don't know. I just wanted to I feel like if we get any little bit of reliable clarification from anybody, I want to know it, please tell me. And I'm happy to tell you, because we don't have a lot of clarification. Yeah. And oh, hi, Anaphlexis. How are you? Where'd you go there, honey? And I wanted to read your comment. This is from a long time ago. I just realized how far behind I am, like an hour, but now I'm only half an hour. I'm trying to catch up. Anaphylaxis is former law enforcement, retired law enforcement. So everybody thank Anaphylaxis for her service to her community. And I always love to hear what she has to say. Yeah. And K-Braze, I don't know if K-Braze, I don't know what happened. I don't have you up here anymore. I know the sound was getting a little like scratchy. I don't know if like something happened. If you don't come back up, I just want to thank you for coming up here and everything you contributed. I really appreciate it. If you do want to come back up, come back up. So Anaphylaxis says, police tend to carry pocket knives, not fixed blade large ones like K-bar. Just a little bit from Anaphylaxis. I think we were talking about maybe the possibility of somebody brought up the possibility of the assailant being a police officer. And, we really never know.
Like it's from like a police officer versus like military. Somebody that's an aficionado for military style weapons.
Yeah, that's right.
Or hunting, really.
Yeah. Sure. Yep, that's right. Okay, so let me get back to, I want to play just again that little bit of this interview where he talks about not having to go up the stairs.
And on the lease that was never there. Stop playing games. This is serious. These are people's lives, and this is the future of this community. There's going to be 10,000, 15,000 kids that come into this community next year, or they don't. So be serious.
I had the opportunity to speak to some of my sources, and I've been told that there were differences in the way that the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard the target attack walk back and then reverse it back to it being a target attack. What can you tell us about the targeted attack?
They have told us that it was targeted, but they told us they can't tell who. We asked specifically, and they said, we'll try to get that information to you. And they got back to us a day or so later, and they said, we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted, or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to go up the steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just gonna say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill.
Oh, geez. So, he says, they say here that the means don't match. And I still am not super clear on what they're talking about, because the interviewer asked, based on the autopsy report, it doesn't match. And the mom vigorously shakes her head. But then most recently, again, Mr. Gonsalves came out and said that in a conversation with Loose Lip Kathy, the coroner, he asked her a question, and she said, "Sir, they're not stab wounds. They're not stab wounds. They're more like slashes." And then went on to say, to describe the nature of the wounds. And I don't have my trigger warning, graphic content warning up, so I'm not going to go into all of that, but it's graphic. But I don't know. I don't know. That didn't really, I don't know. Go ahead.
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
Trigger warning. One of the girls was assaulted in a very much more severe way than the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we can say, from what we've gathered, that it was Kaylee.
Yeah, and that's what he just said too. Yeah.
That was assaulted physically in a much more severe way as far as the damage to their person, their body.
And Ellie, I just read your comment, and I can't pin it because of YouTube, but yikes. Ellie Faust, and welcome Ellie, just put in an important comment in chat if anyone wants to just look at it. So Okay. Sorry, go ahead, DC.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really palpable. The dad is just like so frustrated, and the mom's like, "No, calm down." But like the dad's like, "No, like you don't get it. Like I understand where everybody else is coming from in this town, the mayor, the people at the college, law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they want to get it solved, but
Mm-hmm.
put it out there so that we can figure out who did this to our children. Like
Mm-hmm.
enough's enough. He's like fed up. And I get that. Like I totally pick up on his frustration here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God. It's freaking hard stuff to watch. So I'm gonna have to get wrapping up soon, guys. It's 1 a.m. here. I gotta get some sleep. Now remember, oh gosh, I also remember this too. So it's supposed to be a shorter live stream because what are we? 2 hours and 40 minutes. Okay, well, it's a little on the longer end. Here at Watts the Obsession, we're going to do a live stream each night this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which is my birthday. I'm going to be 44 years old. Yeah, so look forward to that. It'll be around 9:30 p.m. New York time each night. It won't be as late as I was today because I left my mic and my everything at my mom's house for Christmas. Here, I just want to play a little video that I created that just has some video and photos, maybe. I can't remember if I put in photos too, of the victims and the roommates that, well, when I came across it, it was like new to me, or I had it on file and hadn't used it yet. The two situations both apply. So let me find that and bring it on up. Hopefully this one turned out. What's that, honey?
Watch that profiler video because
I will.
I think that's going to bring us a lot closer than just picking names that have been up in social media and just using whoever has been named. I mean, I think that's a ridiculous approach to this case. We need to have a lot more conscientiousness and just kind of look at this based on the facts, whether we just name people that have been named in social media based on their relationship or proximity to the victims that night. It's not
complete.
No. You have to look at the big picture and then maybe pull in those other people based on what we've learned from the clues and the facts of the case themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. No, great thinking. I think so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yes. And everybody, on your way out, if you don't mind, please do hit like, subscribe if you haven't, and consider hitting the bell so you get future notifications. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are all awesome. Oh, hey, thanks. Happy early birthday. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I always want everyone to have their say. Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah, we like to I like to give a lot of liberty on this channel for people to say a range of things. It all has to stay very civil and not ridiculous or whatever, but no one knows. No one has the answers. That's the only thing I know.
Murphy.
That's Bethany.
On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Morgan were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. 2 surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning. On the morning of November 13th at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch Center reporting an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence and was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates. Moscow Police Department officers responded and located 4 victims, 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. The Latah County coroners conducted autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault. Investigators have determined 2 areas of interest within the city and have provided maps which are on our Facebook page and on our website. And these are areas that they have canvassed for additional surveillance video and tip.
If you see something, say something, right, DC?
Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
thank you everybody for joining us tonight. If you can, think about it. Like, think about the clues that we've been given. Don't just jump on somebody because they've been named on mainstream.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And always think for yourself. Even with what I put out on this channel, I always still tell people, and I really believe this, don't you always use your own best, cautious and patient judgment and discrimination, and think for yourself for sure. As with all cases, any cases I've covered for sure, and I think all cases that include any level of controversy on them, there unfortunately are channels out there, and I'm not talking about anyone specific, and there's a lot of channels I love that cover, the same topic that I do. And I'm, talk to a lot of the creators offline and friendly with them. And I would, love to refer people to them and all of that. But there are always those people there that are going to put out absolute bullshit like Joseph Morris.
Yes.
Just to try to grow their channel. And that's, so think for yourself. Yeah. Thank you, Honey Bun, for this super chat. She says, thank you, Kelly, for all your hard work. You're very welcome. Thank you guys for being here. You guys really make the channel. I appreciate all of you guys. And thank you for all those that are watching the replay too. And remember, we're going to have a live stream on this channel each night this week around 9:30 New York time. So today's Tuesday, cross that off. We still have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 2 of them will be the Idaho case. One of them is going to be the Watts case, the continuation of the live stream from, I don't know, it was about 10 days ago at this point. So we had a lot on the table. So we're going to continue to talk about the points we brought up before. If you weren't at the first one, you can still hop on the second one. No problem at all. We'll catch up real quick. So thank you so much, moderators. You're amazing. And I hope Jeannie, Ara, DC, Gregory. Oh God, why I start naming people because I'm gonna miss people. Jody is cool, and you guys are all wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.
Earlier, I love you, Molson. Hugs and kisses.
Molson man, yes, is he still here? I was looking for him just a little bit ago.
He was here at the beginning, and
yes, he was. Yeah, Molson man, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so everybody, be safe. Stay warm if you're in the United States, I think for the most part. Stay cool if you're in Australia. I don't know if you guys are still having a lot of heat there or not, but whatever the case is, I wish you all the best. Till I see you next time. Try to be here tomorrow night around 9:30 New York time. Thank you, DC. I really appreciate everything you have to contribute. You're awesome.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Love you, girl. I'm going to watch that video. All right. Bye. All right. Thanks, guys. You're awesome. Thank you to everybody in chat, subscribers, old and new, members. And yeah. We're going to find justice for these people. There's no other way. It has to happen. All right. Good night.